Hey there, you're listening to You Still Going On About That with Rob Israel and Joseph K. You can find us anywhere you could download podcasts. You could also find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at YSGOAT. Thanks for listening. I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
You still going on about
that?
All right, Joseph, it's a spooky October 13th.
Yeah.
The scariest day of the year.
Yeah.
Thursday the 13th.
Right.
That's usually the day everyone.
Right? I always remember as a child being terrified of Saturday the 14th.
That movie?
Yeah,
that
from the
horrible
film.
Movie. So bad. I
really
remember
bad.
that movie as a kid, seeing clips of it and just being like freaked out by it when I was little, watching it on cable. And I remember watching it a couple years ago, and it was just so bad. I was like,
it's terrible. But I remember when I saw it as a kid thinking like, this finally someone made a film for me. Like finally someone put like it's all good parts, like
speaking of goofy movies, real quick, I just saw an announcement. Paramount, I don't know if it's gonna be a Paramount Plus movie or it's gonna go to the theater, but it's kind of bizarre because Roger just watched the Naked Gun trilogy.
Oh, okay.
He loved the first one. Let me tell you, I'm actually shocked. First one holds up really well.
Really? Okay, I wouldn't have guessed that.
Third one are the ones with like the cruder kind of racially jokes that didn't age well. The third one has tons of like Muslim terrorist jokes and like just some real bad, like just not. I mean, third one is funnier than the second one, but the first one is just a straight up classic. It's like a perfect comedy. And honestly, I'm sure someone would find there's definitely things in that first movie that are not I feel like it aged pretty good. Like the jokes, like they're just so well done. That first movie. It's the other ones I said that those didn't age fine wine with it. And Roger, that scene when he goes to the bathroom with the mic, Roger was just like laughing for like 3 minutes straight. It was like just the funniest scene.
Yeah.
He never heard him laugh. Like it just that's like one of the funniest things. But they just announced a new one.
Oh, really?
Which so they're digging up Leslie Nielsen's bones.
Yeah, right.
They're gonna rotoscope him and then do like a Liam Neeson is gonna play the new. Liam Neeson is gonna be the new Naked Gun. Yep.
I could see that. I'll bet you he's really funny.
He was just in Dairy Girls.
Yeah,
he was something else that was really funny recently. He can be it done right. He could be very funny. And the thing about Leslie Nielsen that worked was
he was a straight
like
man.
In Airplane, in the first Airplane, he's just like he was like a straight man actor.
Yeah.
Gets goofier as the other movies go on, but that's another reason why the first Naked Gun works perfectly, because he still plays it more straight.
In
the second and third movie, he gets a little too clownish.
Right.
So yeah, that I saw that. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah,
when that'll get made. Liam Neeson's not that young, so
no, but he's like. It's kind of cool. I mean, obviously he's.
But neither was Leslie Nielsen.
That's true. That's true. Well, we actually have a remake. We were going to talk a little bit about. We were going to talk about the Hellraiser remake in a little bit.
Yeah. What are we talking about today, Joseph?
Okay, so we got a bunch of shows we've been watching, and it seems like they keep getting added to. But the four we've kind of been catching up with are House of Dragon, the Rings of Power. Andor and She-Hulk.
Right. And then we have, on top of that, we're going to talk a little about Hellraiser.
Yep.
And then we're going to talk a bit about Werewolf by Night.
Yeah, which was a real, I guess it was, I'm not going to say it was a surprise, because I kind of thought it would be fun, but it was really fun. It was
that was cool. That was like a short movie or special.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was going to air this early. I thought it was going to be later in the month. And then, like, I figured they'd wait till like next week after She-Hulk aired, maybe.
Yeah.
She-Hulk would be finished.
Right.
So I was actually kind of shocked that they released these both kind of like in the same. Like Marvel and like Disney Plus tends to
space them
not
out.
really overlap Star Wars and Marvel too much. You know, I mean, that's why Andor is on Wednesday. It's She-Hulk's on Thursday, but like they're not usually gonna have two Star Wars properties out at once. They're usually not gonna have two Marvel things out at once. Whatever, I don't care. Okay, and then what else?
Well, then we're going to talk about the political stuff, some current events, and the last, presumably the last January 6th hearing was today.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple big debates. Lauren Boebert debated an actual sentient human, which is kind of crazy. J.D. Vance and Tim Ryan debated. I think Gretchen Whitmer and Tudor Dixon are debating tonight, or did debate earlier tonight.
The Herschel Walker debate is supposedly on Friday tomorrow. I bet that doesn't happen. That guy, no way that happens.
Yeah,
that guy's such a yeah.
If he said that he got lost on the way to the debate, I'd 100% believe him. Yeah, I'd be like, okay, well.
I mean, I wouldn't believe him because I would imagine he has other people that can take him there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as the senatorial candidate of Georgia, I would imagine he has a team that would get him there, but I would still believe that he got lost on the way to the bathroom.
Right, from the car to the door, he somehow.
Yeah, he's like locked in a car door like a little kid or a dog. Come by cracking a window, like window breaking things.
We're going to talk about a Fetterman interview that just popped up, and then we're going to talk about some stuff with Florida. Ron DeSantis is under federal investigation, and we're going to talk about the little quirk with the Florida voting rules that may have Ron in a dilemma of sorts. And then we're going to wrap up by talking about Alex Jones and Kanye West. Right?
Both the same person.
They are not that far apart. Actually, you know, when you think about it,
they're pretty much the same wavelength at this point.
Yeah. They're
well, we'll talk about talk about that. All right, let's get into everything then, because we still have a lot to talk about here. All right, we have House of Dragon, Ring of Power, Andor, She-Hulk, Hellraiser, Werewolf by Night. Okay, there's a lot here.
Right.
I'd say let's talk about Hellraiser first.
Okay.
Let's talk about Werewolf by Night. Let's talk about Ring of Power.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, there's so much here. Let's talk about House of Dragon. Did I say Andor yet?
No, then Andor, then She-Wolf.
Yeah, She-Hulk.
Oh, so She-Wolf.
She-Hulk.
Yeah.
Elsa She-Wolf with the SS. Yeah, we're not talking about that. Maybe Kanye will. But
yeah. All right, so Hellraiser, the original Hellraiser came out in like 87. It was one of the first big horror movies that I really, really liked. You know, I remember I snuck out of school and saw Hellraiser with my friend Dawn, and we snuck a whole bunch of beers into the theater in her giant purse, and we drank them all. And then during a particularly shocking scene, I accidentally kicked over all the empties, and it felt like it took them 7 minutes to roll down the entirety of the theater. They just kept going. And
like, you remember about the movie?
They'd stop and then they'd keep going, and then like
best movie ever made.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my big Hellraiser. I found it like really, like Freddy and all those others, Jason. I found them scary, but like Hellraiser, I found like disturbing, like really.
Well,
disturbing.
I mean, it's like all right, these people playing this game, and then they fucking get like they either win or they do something.
Yeah.
And these fucking things show up, and they're just like, "What is your pleasure?"
Yeah.
And, like, to them, pleasure is like having your flesh ripped off and like being filleted.
Right.
And I'm like, no, that's not mine. You're a bunch of fucking weirdos. I mean, I guess a guy who has like pins in his head or her head in this one, and like have like skin stretched and filleted, of course they're gonna have a different perspective of what pleasure is.
Yeah.
But I don't want that. I don't want to be filleted. I'll be honest with you straight up. I mean, like, I did like the new one, but I still think the original's better.
Yeah.
I like okay, they had like story begins with like some woman working clearly like a representative for some rich guy.
Yep.
I'm assuming the guy was like a male prostitute or whatever. Somebody just trying to get by, probably a wannabe model or actor or whatever.
Yep.
And this guy basically hasn't played the game. I guess if you move it, you get pricked by the thing.
Yeah.
Those things come out. Like
right.
That's like it's like amazing how they just show up. Like if you don't get hit, like you're like, whoa.
Right.
They're like probably sitting in the back like, ah, fuck.
God damn it.
Come on. Stupid.
Well,
I mean, like imagine like is that all they do all day, these things? They just sit there and wait till someone plays the game. What if they're like busy? They're like, you know what? It's been like a millennium. No one's played this game. I've been busy. I got a job. I got a family.
Yeah,
they're They're all Cenobites. They're all disgusting. And then like some asshole is playing the game, and they're like, oh, fuck. Honey, you're not gonna like this.
Right.
I was making dinner for us. I made a gargoyle, whatever they eat.
Yeah. The wife is like,
somebody got pricked by the thing, so I gotta get up and go. You know what? I didn't sign up for this.
Can't they send Jim Zabub from accounting?
Yeah. Listen, I'm Pinhead. Okay?
Right.
If they didn't ask for Staplehead or Nailhead or.
Well, in the original, I think here's the big difference between the original Hellraiser series and this new one is in the original, you had to fuck around with the cube and then they came and wrecked your world. And there's even a scene in Hellraiser 2 where an evil doctor got like some girl in a home who was like, I don't know.
I liked 2 a lot too. I thought
2 was great.
2 is better than 1, I think.
Actually. Yeah. And he tricked the girl into solving the cube, and the Cenobites show up and they're like, wait a minute, you didn't really call us. All you did was solve the puzzle. Someone else called us. We come to desire, not the hand. I think there's a line.
Yeah, because they in the new one, they just go to whoever gets pricked.
Yeah. And they don't care.
The guy was the one with the desire, and he tricked the young guy into doing it.
Yeah. And the Cenobites in this one even like help, like I forget the lead character's name, the woman, but they even help her. They're like, hey, you can go kill other people and we won't fuck you up. Like they're kind of like coaching her in how to do it.
They're also like recruiting, like they're always looking for like new Cenobites.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you can be like vagina face or whatever, like whatever. We have some cool openings, we lost the Chatterbox in that one scene, and we need a Kegel.
You can be hot dog fingers. You can be
hot dog fingers for that. Did you see that movie?
Which one?
Everything Always at Once. That's what that was.
Was
hot dog fingers?
That I think that's from like an old SNL joke. It was like they were reading like the side effects of a medication. One of them was like the condition known as hot dog fingers.
Oh, I think I remember that list. Yeah, you could be the new Cenobite, hot dog fingers.
Right.
You don't want that? Come on, think about it.
I will say that I loved the mythology of the first one, the original. I thought was infinitely better. But
I just like the plot of like the evil uncle and like the stepmom and whatever.
It was real.
They're plotting. There's just like a better plot. This one, it's like this dumb girl who's got like she's just like, okay, she's got like problems but she's being tricked. Like her boyfriend's a piece of shit who's working for the guy, and it takes a long time to get to the point.
Oh man,
of the mid spoilers for Hellraiser, the new one that's on Hulu. I still think it's worth watching.
Oh yeah,
I'll give it a C+ or a B. That's my grade.
Yeah, I would give it
no higher than
B-.
I refuse. B-? I think that's fair. Yeah, that's still good. That's still worth watching. It's like this isn't like eBay or whatever where Everyone's like, if you don't have 5 stars, like
Right.
this is clearly the worst service ever.
Yeah. I mean, if is this worth 2 hours of your time? If you like horror movies, I'd say so.
Yeah, if
The,
you like Hellraiser, the first one, or if you just don't even know what it is, I'd say it's worth watching.
it's
I think it's a good.
atmospheric. It's
I think I look forward to seeing more of them. But I will say the problem with these movies is that if you don't have a compelling cast
yeah.
outside of the monster or the Cenobites, the movie's okay. Like, I'm sorry.
Well,
Like, why is the okay Nightmare on Elm Street series? One is good just because it's the first one or whatever,
yeah.
but it's not the best one. The second one's interesting, but the best one is the third one because you got the Dream Warriors.
Yeah.
You have
That's
all these
good.
interesting characters on top of Freddy.
Yeah.
But the other movies start to suffer because the other casts are just not as interesting. And it's like you can't have Freddy carry the movie
No.
because he's the monster that shows up in the scenes. And I think that's the problem with Hellraiser is that the Cenobites are awesome. And if you watch like the first movie, the Cenobites are only in it for like 10
Oh yeah.
minutes.
They're not
I think
much.
they're more in the second one. But the
Mhm.
second one was awesome because it was in the mental institution. The
Yeah.
doctor was so fucking evil.
Well, and they spend a lot of time in hell, with
Yeah,
like in that
he
giant
explained it
labyrinth.
more. That the Cenobite doctor in the end was crazy. Like
Mhm.
he was like attached to that thing in his head, like the lobotomy thing.
Yeah.
Like, this one, like, I just didn't like I didn't like the main character. I thought she
No.
was like, okay, great. She's an annoying person who fucks everyone up around her.
Well,
The
I
guy, her boyfriend was a shitbag because he
yeah.
was using her. The brother gets killed. The brother's boyfriend was okay.
I
And that was
thought,
about it.
yeah, not to get, and I know a lot of people say, like, I've read a lot of people on Twitter saying that it's stupid to think of it like this, but I can't help but think that it worked really good as like a metaphor for addiction because like the lead character was a shitty person. She got her brother killed. Everyone around her got fucked up. Even when she was doing good things, people around her like suffered for it. And at the end, she she kind of like came clean of all of it, but then she had to kind of like live with all this wreckage that she created, and it's
I
never going to
love
get
the
fixed.
I
I know.
love the pinhead in the
Yeah.
end. I do like the new design. I like that. Of course, people are like, I love this. I saw some people like, oh, it's woke. I'm like, okay, hold on. Hellraiser, created by Clive Barker, a gay man
Yeah.
who's been out for decades. Um, there's nothing. It was never. I would never think Hellraiser was like if they. I never read it like that. Like it was always kind of like had a queer element to it.
Oh God, yeah.
Hellraiser, the original series. So they say it's woke, and then the thing is, they said, and I guess there were books. I never read them,
I
but I
read
guess Pinhead was a woman in the books.
I read the book, The Hellbound Heart. It was like 90 pages. It was like I think they included it in as a paperback. You got like the Damnation game, and then the last 90 pages was this novella, The Hellbound Heart. And I the way I remember it is that they were kind of androgynous. They were like they had elements of both sexes in them. They were just kind of erotic
Right? Yeah.
creatures. I mean, they were
So
also not real.
yeah,
They
well,
were
yeah. I mean, that's a crazy part too. They don't exist.
yeah.
It's weird how like it's like we'll talk about Lord of the Rings later, but like when you got people arguing about black elves, and you're just
Right.
like, what's an elf? I mean,
Yeah,
like
right.
this is fucking stupid.
I'd like to actually
I,
hear from an elf on this matter. I'd like
yeah,
to,
when an elf comes in, until then, shut up
yeah,
because you're just revealing what you are.
yeah,
But Pinhead supposedly was a woman in the book,
yeah,
supposedly,
or
or
something.
more.
Yeah,
And the only reason why he was male in the first movie was because all horror movies, they literally were all men characters.
yeah.
You had
They were
Freddy,
trying
you had
to have
Jason,
their
Michael
own
Myers,
Jason, or yeah,
you had the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like they all were men characters, and women were never really considered like are there really any female horror villains? I mean, what, Carrie? That doesn't really count.
Yeah.
Like there's no real women. I mean, I guess what, that dumb doll.
I was gonna say like that or Samara, maybe like
But
in
I'm
the
talking about in
ring.
that era in the
No,
80s.
nothing.
No, and they were like, no, Pinhead's gonna be a dude, and like,
Yeah.
what's his face was great as him. I think what's her name? The person who played Pinhead in this.
Oh, I don't know.
I think she was fine. I like that they were actual pins and not
Mhm.
nails.
Yeah.
Like they were actual, like, I mean, they weren't like little bobby pins. I mean, they were pins. They just had a round edge to
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
I mean,
It
I
was
get
good.
it. You know, it's a woman, so you want to have the more feminine, round instead of
Yeah.
hard.
It was good. I loved it.
But
I thought it was real fun. Will
I mean,
I
I think it was a little slow in some part. Like I said, I do like the reveal. I just felt like maybe it could have been a little earlier. The millionaire guy or billionaire guy, because you think he's dead, and then he shows up and he's like, he has this insane contraption inside of
yeah.
him that's just like tearing at his veins or whatever.
Yeah.
It's so gross. And they're like, "Well, you don't like this?" He's like, "No, this is hell." And I love that. Like, again, that's the Cenobites thing. It's all about like, this is. I mean, this is what they like. I
It's
mean, they're like,
sensation. Yeah, like they
"What? You
just
don't
like
like having your skin pulled over your head?" Like,
yeah.
I think it's great. And I love in the end though when they're like, "We could bring your brother back," and she's like, one, she's probably like knows better. Like he's
Yeah.
gonna come back all fucked up, or
Right.
maybe some trick. Like he's gonna come back, but he's gonna be like a
He,
Cenobite,
yeah.
or he's gonna like kill me. There's gonna
They'll
be
like
like,
merge us together and we'll be one creature. Like
yeah, right, like some ass to ass thing.
yeah, right.
Yeah, they'll come back with like some fucked up, yeah, human centipede shit or
Yeah.
something. Like, okay, look, your brother's back.
Yeah. You
On
said
your
make
back. Your brother's back.
you
Get
said
it?
make
The
you a ham
devil's bargain.
sandwich.
What?
You said make you a ham sandwich. That's what
Yeah. So, but she's like, no, and then the pinhead's like, oh, so you rather have guilt? That's the worst. So like, I love
yeah.
that, like the pinhead, like having to like, you know, have guilt and like live with
Yeah.
knowing that you did something wrong and knowing that your brother died because of you. Like, that's so much worse than like, you know, I don't know, having your head turned inside out.
Right.
Living
They
permanent
did.
existence like that.
You had
Like,
texted me about that. And it
yeah,
was great. Like,
Pinhead's like, you know, I'm like this with nails in my head and my fucking throat opened up and my skin pulled over because I just didn't feel like saying sorry
well,
to my ex.
the best was like Pinhead when the lead character was like, I don't want anything from you guys. The Pinhead is just like momentarily silent, and the Cenobite behind her is like, like you choose
What?
guilt. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you, you savage?
This is all we do.
Why would you spend your whole life sad when you could spend your whole life with like a refrigerator shoved up your ass? Like,
Yeah, he turned into a human vacuum. Like,
right? Like,
you could have this. Why, you could be like me and have a metal ring that goes around my head and pulls my throat apart. You
yeah.
don't want to live like this? No.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? I could live with a little guilt. You know
Well,
what? I
right.
grew up in a Jewish family. I think I could deal with it. That's what I would tell them. I'd be like, you know
Yeah.
what? I think I'll be okay.
Yeah. I think I
Or
can
maybe
make
the
it.
girl's like, I'm a fucking sociopath
Yeah.
too. I don't give
Right.
a shit. I'm gonna forget about this tomorrow and go back to doing drugs again.
Well, yeah.
and then we find out who the monster was all along.
Yeah. Right. Well, I don't know. I do think though that there is something to be said, and I don't know if this is like a good or a bad thing about Hellraiser, but I think the lead character
He's
is,
just so woke.
well, she's kind
No,
of a
I'm talking about
monster.
making a joke about the
Oh,
movie.
I think the lead character is kind of a monster. I mean, like
Well, I
everyone
mean,
around her.
she is, in the end of the day, she's responsible, even though, yeah, I mean, because you could say like, okay, that guy was screwing her over, but like that's the kind of people she attracts
Yeah.
because she's just shitty.
That's what happens when you are like a chronic drug addict, is that you bring shitty people into your life, and then they fuck up your friends that
Yeah.
you knew before you became a drug addict. I mean, like, I don't know. It was, I'm not saying this is high art or
It's a
anything,
tough
but
cycle because it's like, you also want to be like forgive people and you want to be able to like absolve, like you want to be able to like help them get better, but like sometimes like addiction is a weird thing. It's beyond just like there's so many different forms of addiction. They can become addicted to something else. That's why like a lot of like former drug addicts or something like that or drunks become like religious zealots.
or CrossFit enthusiasts or
Yeah,
something. I mean,
yeah,
like, yeah,
QAnon, same shit.
right.
Well, there's a
Amway
CrossFit QAnon
distributors.
actually had a massive crossover. That's not a joke.
Yeah, I believe it.
All right. Well, I mean, like I said, I liked
Yeah,
it.
me too.
Okay, so I'll just say this: Hulu had two horror movies now. Like I would say, like I mean, they've had horror movies on before, but stuff based on past properties. So you had Prey with Predator.
Oh
You saw
yeah,
that,
I
right? We
forgot
talked
about
about
that.
it.
That was really good. Yeah.
And then you have this. I'm gonna say that Prey was better.
Oh, Prey was a legitimately good movie. This
Yeah,
was just a fun movie.
this one I want to see. I'm down to see more.
Yep.
I want to see. I think again, this is the problem with all these type of movies because, like, I mean, you can have a movie more based on Pinhead, but you do its origins, but you can only do it once.
Yeah.
Um, but you have to have a decent cast as like you need to have like a hero you want to root for.
Yeah.
You need to have like people that are interesting and not annoying. I mean, there's a lot of factors involved. It's like, and that's like the joke is like Godzilla movies, right? The worst part of usually Godzilla is the humans.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
for
always the
sure.
worst part of the story. It's like you just want to see the monster wreck the city, but you still have to have a compelling story to drive it.
Yeah.
So I think I like the look of it, the Cenobites. I'm down to see more of this.
Yeah.
This was fine. I doubt I'll ever rewatch it.
I don't think I'll rewatch it, but
I
I
do
hope they
like
make a sequel.
I like the part when the guy got the thing ripped out of him and he had the big hole and
Yeah.
it started resealing. And then like I don't know if it was a cutscene in the end or it was just showed in the end. I guess he became a Cenobite in the end, that guy.
Yeah, he the deal is you get to choose the previously the once you solve the cube, the Cenobites came and wrecked you, but now it's like a 6 stage process and they all
I
begin
was
with
like, why would
L,
you play this game?
right? Well, like because at the end, whoever has the cube at the end gets to pick a gift, and you can choose like lamentation, which is what the lead character chose, which is a life of guilt. Um, or you could choose like lore, which is like secret knowledge, uh, Leviathan. Well, anyway, so the one guy before chose like the pleasure one,
Yeah.
lust or something. And anyway, at the very end, he said, I don't want that. I want to exchange it for Leviathan, which is power. And then since he chose power, they turned him into a Cenobite.
Yeah, but yeah, it was like weird. I don't even know what the hell that was.
Yeah.
I know, I love that too. It's like he gets cured, like he heals. It's like really gross and like
Yeah.
all his muscle and bone stitch and everything. But then they send a giant meat hook down and gore him
Yeah.
immediately afterwards. I don't
Yeah.
know. I'd say it's worth watching.
Yeah.
Ignore. I mean, like, yeah. I don't
You
know.
can for the first half bring along an activity. Like
It wouldn't hurt to look at your phone once in a while.
yeah,
Yeah.
if you're catching up on your texting, you've got a little wiggle room there during the first
Yeah.
hour.
Just
So
now that the girl's annoying, like other people are kind of annoying, and
yeah,
it gets good once they get to that
yeah.
mansion.
You won't feel bad when the characters start dropping dead. You won't feel you'll be like, oh, okay, good. That's enough of that one.
Yeah, that's fine. We got you.
Yeah. So all right. So what was next on the list?
Off.
what were we gonna
I
do?
guess we'll talk about Werewolf by Night. Get
Yeah.
the horror stuff out. All right, so Disney Plus. I've heard about this for a long time now that they were going to do their first Halloween special, MCU Hollywood Halloween special,
Yes.
and it was going to be Werewolf by Night.
Yep.
The guy who's playing Jack. They didn't say his last name. I love Werewolf by Night's real name.
Terrier.
Jack Russell.
Oh, that's right. They said it at the end because I remember hearing it.
Jack
Because I
Russell.
guess yeah, but they did say it in this show at the very end.
Oh, they do?
Yeah. Because weren't there two Jacks that played that were Werewolf by Night? Weren't there two separate Jacks?
I have no idea.
Well, anyway, they do say it's Jack Russell, like the terrier. But yeah, it was
the dog from Frasier was in
Yeah.
Werewolf by Night. That was pretty cool. I didn't think I thought he was dead. Like I thought he died like decades ago.
No.
No, he's living. He's
Well, this was
the whole. You go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say the whole thing is like really cool. They set it up with the old like Universal logo, and it's kind of like the Marvel stuff is real
I love
stylized.
the special too. Like it looks like an old TV thing. Like
Yeah,
they do like a new special would show up.
Yeah, and even the because I'm sure they shot it on like digital, but they like a lot of it has like artificial like film pops.
Yeah, it's on black and white, so they do this thing to like kind of age it. So basically, Werewolf by Night. He's the whole real quick. The plot's like it's played by Gael Garcia, that actor. That guy's great. He's been in tons of stuff. It's like a movie where he plays like a young Castro, I think. Is it Castro?
No, it was.
No, he's
Che.
playing.
He played Che.
The T-shirt guy.
Yeah.
And a couple other.
The Motorcycle Diaries is what it was called, right?
He's in that movie. God, what's that? I couldn't stand it. The one with it was a guy like not Please Rewind. I forgot the director. He made these movies and like there was like one he did where it was like all these little cardboard cutouts. I did not care for
that. Yeah.
He was in that. He's he's a good actor. I haven't seen anything recently, but it's kind of funny too because what's his face was in that movie with him. Andor, the guy who plays Andor. Mm-hmm. He was in Motorcycle Diaries.
He was in Mozart in the Jungle. He was the lead.
I didn't watch that. I only saw like one episode.
I saw the first 2 seasons. I liked it a lot. A lot of it was shot in New York. I love things that are shot in New York. So it was good.
So he's like showing up in this mansion. You find out basically it's not like the most. It's like someone died and there's like a challenge, and whoever the guy who died had possessed the bloodstone. The bloodstone, I guess, this is power again, another MacGuffin type thing, a powerful symbol. I guess the thing is, what it does though is it could find monsters.
Yeah,
and that's why it was interesting that he was there because it revealed that he was a monster.
Right.
But there's these like monster hunters, and you meet the daughter, Bloodstone, Alyssa Bloodstone. And the stepmom, I love the animated corpse of the guy.
Yeah, that was so really funny.
Yeah, that was so gross. Like the way he's like talking, and he's like, "I'll be rotting for you."
It had a real haunted mansion type of vibe to it. I don't know if you've been to the Disney World Haunted Mansion, but
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's real shticky and it's got a little Tales from the Crypty at times in a good way. But yeah, you're right. There was not much of
and ghouls.
There was not much of a plot to it. I mean, it was like,
well, you think okay, they're talking about all their kills, and he's talking about he's killed like over 100,
right?
And then he's just randomly killed 100 because he's actually a werewolf that he had
by night. Yeah,
by night, of course. I mean, not werewolf by day.
Right.
That's a different comic. It's just it's actually a Jack Russell Terrier. Like that. So you find out like the whole challenges. There's this monster that they have to chase, and whoever defeats it will get the bloodstone. Find out the monster is the Man Thing.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. I knew that he was going to be in it, but I didn't know it was going to be like a main focal point.
Yeah.
I do. It's funny because the werewolf by night, but he doesn't become the werewolf until like the last like 10 minutes of the thing.
Yeah. It's only for a small.
But honestly, if you watch any of those old movies, like they usually just show up for like a minute.
Yeah.
The actual monster. Yeah, I mean, I thought it was cool. I liked all the little like touches. They showed all the different monsters. There's like a lot of like 70s horror comics from Marvel back in the day.
Yeah.
Um,
You know
you
the
know, they
what?
plan on doing a new Blade movie. I heard that got delayed because the director was quit or was fired or
Yeah.
something. Supposedly, like it was like idiotic. It was like only two fight scenes or something, like in a Blade vampire. It was like something
Yeah.
ridiculous, whatever leaked online or whatever. I don't know if it's true or not.
Hmm.
So that's getting delayed. But there's rumors that they're gonna do like Midnight Suns. They're gonna bring Ghost Rider back. Unfortunately, Morbius is being held up by Sony,
Uh,
so um, but there is Dracula. They might bring that in. I think Man Thing, having him in there is really cool. Bloodstone, her, she's awesome.
mhm.
Um, yeah, I don't know. You said you used to read a lot of those comics back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day, I really liked the horror comics. That was kind of like my guilty pleasure,
You
I
should have
guess.
held on to those.
Yeah. Well, I had a ton of Tomb of Dracula. I
Those,
had
those are like, especially the Blade ones.
Yeah, I remember having, I don't know if I had any of the Blade ones, but I had a bunch of the Tomb of Dracula. I had the Vampirella, a
The
few of
magazine.
those. Yeah,
Were those pages stuck together in the
yeah,
Vampire one?
right. Yeah. What else did I have? I had a whole bunch of weird ones. Jonah Hex. I had like, I know
Oh yeah.
that's like a different property, but
Yes, DC.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it was in that horror vibe.
It's
I
like a
had
weird undead cowboy or something.
Yeah, yeah.
So like the interesting about these comics was is that back in the 60s, they couldn't make any of these. The comic code was stricter. Like so basically in the 50s, there was a lot of EC comics and all these other comics that basically led to a lot of, they want to blame things. It's like at the Combine when like they would blame like Marilyn Manson or
Yeah.
Rammstein video games on it. Back then it was like this was causing degeneracy, this was causing people to do drugs, this was causing people to be gay, this was
Yep.
causing people, well, whatever bullshit they want to spew. The family council, whatever,
Yeah.
concerned parents or whatever. I mean, you look back at some of those comics though, some are like really weird. Like they would always have like you'd always have like the hero, and then you'd have like the boy, and the boy would literally just be like underwear or something.
Yeah.
Some of them are a little weird. Uh,
Well,
what?
a lot of them were like kind of sexy. I remember liking that as a kid. Like they had a lot of like scantily clad female
Well, I'm talking
characters.
about the one in the 50s
Oh,
where
yeah.
the law. So the laws. What happened is, let me see if I can look this up. Um, it, just like a psychologist or whatever who got put out a book, and it basically that's where the comic code was created because like
Yeah.
EC Comics, which was Mad Magazine, but they would put out all the horror comics like Tales of the Crypt. They ended up going to court, like Ed. I think I'm trying to remember his name. The guy who basically was the editor of Mad until he died.
Alfred E.
Uh,
Newman, right?
yeah, Alfred E. Newman. Yeah, yeah. He
Yeah.
was. He went on court. He said, "What me worry?" And they're like, "Yeah, we're yeah,
Guilty.
it's Alfred E. Newman." Yeah, it's crazy how they got him to show up.
Yeah.
Uh, Real spaz. So basically, after like 1957, they couldn't have horror comics anymore. They
Yeah.
couldn't have like, they had monsters and sci-fi stuff, aliens, but you couldn't have werewolves, you couldn't have zombies, you couldn't have Dracula, you couldn't have Frankenstein. Basically, anything supernatural, anything undead, and extreme violence. You couldn't depict women in these sexy things. There's like one famous cover. You've probably seen it. It's like a decapitated head. It's like a
Yeah.
woman, like
I
a
just
blonde
saw
hair woman.
that. Someone posted that on Instagram.
Yeah, I mean it's a famous cover.
Yeah.
There's a couple other big ones that were basically showcased in the case that basically because of that ended it all. Like, and they said that like there's a couple of things to look at. Like comics were evolving in a lot of way. They were
Hmm.
like, okay, these weren't really for like some of them was just smut, some of them was just like crap, but some of them were like really well written and like they were becoming like almost like more and more mature. Because there was like, hey, we had people who were buying comics in the 40s, they're older, they're still reading these because like the stories are a little more mature.
Hmm.
And they said because what they did, it actually made comics infantile and slowed down the
Oh.
progress of like good writing and like being taken seriously. Um, So Marvel came out like, but they could not do monsters. And then like it's funny, like they introduced Morbius. It's like the comic code was starting to like get a little more lenient. I mean, the
Loosen
joke
up.
was, at the end of the day, I don't know how much authority the comic code had. The companies could have just been
That's
like,
true.
it
It
was like,
wasn't a cabinet level position.
yeah,
Like
it's like
in
the president of the WWF in the 80s that
right.
they would have show up as like, it was just
That's
an
a good
actor.
point. I
But I
don't know
mean,
if they
yeah,
have
like
subpoena power, like
Stan Lee, like in the late 60s, put out these like Spider-Man comics that had to do with drugs, and he took the comic code off. He was like, I'm gonna do these like anti-drug
yeah.
issues. Like, but you couldn't show that in the comic code. So he's like, all right, I'll just take them off. I don't care. you
Yeah,
know?
that's a good point.
So there's like 3 issues. That was like a big deal back then. But they introduced Morbius. He was like the first like monster character in Marvel, really. And but he's called the living vampire.
Right, because he's not
They
yeah.
undead. So
Yeah.
stupid. A lot of this is like a lot of like bullshit, like religious stuff bleeding through it. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
you
yeah.
guys have family values. Like, really, a werewolf? Like, my kid's gonna turn into a degenerate delinquent because of a werewolf comic?
Yeah.
Like, come on now. But anything to do with like the supernatural. But once they loosened up, Marvel, like, just there's so many. Like, they were just like, they must have had them waiting. One, they put out a ton of reprint comics, stuff that
Mm-hmm.
they're like, fuck it, we're gonna put these out again. Just put them under different titles. They did that, and then they had Werewolf by Night, Tomb of Dracula, Frankenstein, The Mummy. Like, they had all different kinds of monster books. Ghost Rider,
Yeah.
Hellstorm.
Ghost Rider. I read a lot of Ghost Rider when I was a kid. I had a Ghost Rider T-shirt, and it said "Eat your heart out, Peter Fonda."
You sure
And
that was not a bootleg?
I'm sure
It's
it
probably
probably was. I mean, it's
got at a flea market or something. You know,
no,
some dude
I
like
think I got
sucks
it at
like
like a
that.
department store in New Jersey when I was a little kid, and I remember it like distinctly because I remember my dad trying to explain to me what Easy Rider was, and
Yeah, I have a feeling that that was not a. I don't know. It was back in the day. Maybe Marvel was able to get away with it. But I feel like,
I have no idea.
yeah,
But like it
I'm
was,
gonna have
I
to
mean,
look that shirt up now.
yeah, it was "Eat your heart out, Peter Fonda" was the caption, and it was a. I remember it was a yellow T-shirt.
That's so
Uh,
weird. That sounds
yeah,
awesome.
it
So,
was really awesome.
so they had all these monster stuff. So they've been over the years, like in the 70s. There's just so many of them, like stuff I've never even heard of. Every time I go to the store, looking back issues, I see more like Chamber of Chills, Supernatural, through it, like all these different. They had like Man Wolf too,
Okay.
which was like a villain, a Spider-Man villain. They had all these different like monsters because they were basically, it was like almost like they were backed up. They weren't allowed to do this, and then once they were allowed to, they just like unleashed it. You
They
know?
finally had it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know how it. I bet like at that point it was probably outselling like Avengers and all that shit. You know, at the time because it was probably like fresh and new. You know.
Well, Ghost Rider was a big book when I was a kid, or at least I remember it being a big book.
Well, we had like Evil Knievel. I mean,
That was
Johnny Blaze is basically like a stunt bike
and
driver or whatever.
when Ghost Rider got his CB radio, that was like just the crossover I'd been waiting for in my whole life.
Yeah, okay. Hey, good.
Well, I look, Werewolf by Night was really great. I love the vibe.
Oh, and Man Thing being another one.
Oh, yeah. Actually, Man Thing and Swamp Thing.
What's funny is people are like, is Man Thing a ripoff of Swamp Thing? And people are like, actually, Man Thing supposedly predates Swamp Thing by like 2 months. But
yeah,
you gotta realize that like these guys all knew each other.
that's what
And
I
they all
read.
went to like the same fucking bars afterward. Like they were all near each other. Like you had guys who would leave Marvel and go DC. It was just like down the block. Like,
Yeah.
fuck you, I quit. And I'm going to DC or whatever. And these guys, these guys would exchange notes or say something, get drunk, and be like, "Yeah, I found this thing called Man Thing." They're like, "Man Thing? What the fuck is that?" It's like a green monster. They're like writing it down. Like,
right. Okay. Green Monster check. Right.
Okay, that sounds dumb. I have an idea. Swamp Thing.
Well,
I love Man Thing because like there's these comics from the 70s, Giant Size. And the comics were literally called Giant Size Man Thing.
Nice.
Great. It's like, it's just like man, you guys either knew what you were doing or you were just,
Yeah,
or were
oblivious.
they truly innocent times? I have a feeling they knew
I
what
think
they
they
were
knew.
doing. Yeah.
Well, this was good. This is kind of an interesting thing. Was this supposed to be set in present day?
I think it is. I think it is. Yeah, because if you see the beginning, they show like the Avengers and all
Yeah.
that.
Okay. Yeah. Good point.
So
Yeah.
I think it is parallel to like whatever's going on in the MCU.
Yeah.
It's like the same thing in these comics. They had like always had these like MonsterVerse in Marvel and X-Men. They would have like their own little universe, even though it's like, man, how's the Earth still standing? There's always like
Yeah. Right.
a world-ending thing in one series and another. I mean, imagine living on this planet if you were a person. Insurance must be insane, you know?
Yeah.
You're like hurricanes, who cares? Fucking Doctor Doom just showed up. He just
Yeah, that
up
is
at
kind of
the
fucked up.
city because he was in a bad mood.
Well, I like this a lot. I can't say it was a surprise because I thought I would like it and I liked it, and that's kind of the long
I
and
like
short of it.
I'm glad Man Thing was in it. I thought that was cool. I'm glad they used the powers right, like with the
Yeah.
whole like it's like you burn at the touch, whatever knows
Yeah.
fear or whatever. I like that his name is actually Ted.
That's really
I
funny.
forgot the last name, but it's like a similar origin. It's like something to
Yeah.
do like trying to recreate super soldier serum and like something to do with like the mystic arts or
Sure.
whatever. And he ended up like turning into a monster.
Yeah.
And I guess in the comics though, he's more animalistic, and in the show they made him a little more emotive. Like there's more of a personality.
I mean,
Yeah,
he hands Jack coffee at the
yeah,
end. I
like
mean, so like,
there's something there. Like
yeah.
he's cognizant. Like in the comics, he's always been just kind of like a straight up monster. Like Ted, whatever that guy, like he doesn't really exist anymore. There's like it's just a straight up like sentient thing.
Plant.
And
Yeah.
I get it. It works in the comics. It's all stagnant images anyway.
Hmm.
But in a movie, you got to make it a little more interesting. I like that him and Jack had kind of like a Han and Chewie thing going.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was cool. I enjoyed it. The cool thing too about Man Thing, before we wrap this up, is
Hmm.
he I guess it wasn't all CGI. Like they did create like a
Oh,
suit. They obviously do, like I saw the
right.
behind the scenes. It wasn't just like a guy holding up like a tennis ball, or like supposedly they had a suit and everything, and they just added flourishes, or obviously probably
Sure.
would did the big jump in the show that was probably mostly CGI.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I
Um,
like that. I think that, and that's cool too for this because you're going for like a classic look. So
yeah.
you
The
should have
werewolf look
more
was
like
old school for sure.
you should have more like there is still this like weight that
Yeah.
like that they just has. I don't know what it is. It's just CGI has not 100% gotten it yet. It's
No.
like there's a weight. I don't know.
Yeah. A heft to it.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. All right.
Maybe if
Cool.
the characters and when they're talking about CGI were just like look at the camera and go, man, this is heavy.
Yeah.
Trust
Well,
me,
you can
guys.
tell. You can tell by the way
Very
they move, and
yeah.
yeah. I mean, so. All right. So what do we got next? We got were we doing House of Dragon next?
Well, we have House of Dragons, Ring of Power,
Andor and
Andor,
She-Hulk.
She-Hulk. I'd say let's talk about Ring of Power.
All right. I
Uh,
thought the last two episodes of Rings of Power were great.
okay, I liked the one before. This episode was okay.
Yeah.
I found it to be again this is the second to last episode.
Yeah.
I found it to be a little boring. I feel like you had this awesome episode in the last one. Like it really like went into overdrive,
Hmm.
and this one was just kind of again back to the rest of the series. I'm not saying
Yeah.
it's terrible, but it's just like you have this insane episode, and then the pacing of this one, it just felt like episode 3 or something. You know what I
Sure.
mean? Like of the series, it didn't feel like okay, this is the last episode before the last episode. So, like, I saw it last Friday or like
Oh.
after we did the podcast, I haven't watched it again. What was the big cliffhanger on this?
Well, there were three entities. Okay, so the hobbits chase off what we assume to be Gandalf, the stranger.
Yeah.
And they say, you got to go live with your own kind. And he goes, and after he leaves,
He's
they notice,
like a dog or
yeah,
something. He's not like there yet.
after he leaves, they notice that the orchard or whatever the grove they had been camping in was brought
Yeah,
back to
because
life.
he was doing so basically like they were showing like how much of an effect Mount Doom exploding
Yeah,
caused that this orchard that they, you know, traveled to was really destroyed because some fragments from
yeah,
Mount Doom flew like what probably was miles away.
probably, yeah,
It burned down. I don't know if anyone were killed, but it burnt down like all their. It destroyed a lot of their homes. It destroyed the trees, so
yeah.
it made it unlivable. And then they have him try to do his thing, and it doesn't really work. And I guess he hurt. Oh, he ends up knocking like a tree on people.
Yeah.
He's kind of like goofy. He doesn't really know what he's doing yet.
Yeah.
Like he needs he's not there yet.
Right.
And but like you said, they tell him to leave or whatever, and then they notice it that the tree's starting to grow back.
Well, as he leaves, we the audience see a little flower sprout, and
Okay.
we are like, oh, okay, so he really did, because they think he's trying to bring the tree back to life. He looks like he fails, but it worked. He did it. So he leaves. The hobbits the next morning realize, oh shit, it really did work. Now we got to go get this guy. We got to bring him back, because they want him now that he's useful. And as they go look for him, the cliffhanger is
Like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
these three
like
mysterious figures show
yeah,
up.
that bald girl and like the two other people.
They're like Hobbit Cenobites,
They're
and
full-size humans.
yeah, I know. I'm just saying they're like
Oh, yeah, they're
Cenobites to
Cenobites.
the
Yeah, I thought
Hobbits.
that was weird when they were like,
Right.
what's your pleasure?
What's your pleasure, Frodo?
Yeah, I thought that was strange.
But then they show up, and you get the idea that they're also looking for the stranger or Gandalf or whatever. And the hobbits try to chase them off, and then these three creatures burn down the orchard again. So the hobbits are again fucked.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know what they are. They're not elves. They're not orcs. I've never really.
Yeah, I
don't
have
know
no
what they
idea
are.
what they are either.
Yeah, so they seem like bad guys. I'll say that, but
Maybe they just misunderstood.
well, it could be. I mean, because like the stranger seems like a bad guy at times, but
Well, it's almost like, is he just evil and he just doesn't know it yet? Like he's dangerous. He's
right.
dangerous because he doesn't know how to use his powers.
Yeah. So I mean, like we assume if the stranger is Gandalf, then these three creatures are bad.
I'll tell you this: my problem with this show is that I don't care for the majority of the characters. I'll tell you the characters I do like. I like that I find interesting. I like the leader of the hobbits, that old guy.
Yeah.
I think he's an interesting character. I like the dwarf and his wife.
Yep.
And the elf friend's fine. Most of the elves are kind of boring. I think it's just kind of like they're like the Vulcans of the fucking show.
Yeah, I like the elves.
Yeah, but I mean, like they're very serious.
Well, that's definitely the elf that's supposed to be the hero, like the warrior elf that helps the villagers. He's boring as fuck. I mean,
someone made a joke on TikTok. Was the black woman said that? Oh, you got to be kidding me! They're having the black elf basically fighting the Confederacy.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta be fucking kidding me, really? Like, I forgot there was like something in history, and he said that like it mirrored that. No, because they said basically like that's what these guys are. They're the Confederacy that they're dealing with. In
gosh, it could be. I mean, I like the character. He's got like that forbidden love with the human woman or whatever.
Yeah, I guess maybe that's his kid. They haven't revealed it yet because they haven't showed his ears.
I don't know. Yeah. But like the character's boring. The dwarves are funny.
I think most of them are kind of boring. That's the problem. Like that's what I said about. Okay, that's why I like Game of Thrones. If this show did not air at the same time as Game of Thrones did, if they kept these months apart,
yeah,
probably wouldn't be comparing as much. But my issue with this show and Game of Thrones is that I actually care about those characters. I don't really care about any of these characters. Like I said, I do like some of them. I find them interesting, but like, I mean, like I said, at the end of the day, like if you're just a Lord of the Rings fan and you like the lore and all that stuff, most people are probably just going to overlook.
Like, I think that's where I'm
fan
at.
Personalities or whatever. But it's like the same thing I was talking about, like Hellraiser. Like the movie's good if the main protagonists are good.
Yeah,
you care and are interested in those characters. But if you don't care about them, then you don't give a shit if fucking Pinhead rips their fucking spine out.
I think
it's like, yay.
I think that's an interesting point because I care more about the world, the Middle Earth world, than I care about the characters, and that probably explains why I really like this show. I mean, I like it a lot better than House of Dragon. No knock on House of Dragon. It's just that like I find myself really looking forward to watching this. And when House of Dragon is on, I'm like, oh, I'll watch that. I mean, like I watch it as
I think you're just trying to be a contrarian.
House of Dragon 2 is so woke. I think that.
So I mean, like if these, I mean, they're so woke. Oh my god. Well, Lord of the Rings is so woke. How about that?
Yeah. Well,
like, what's it called? Ring of Power? More like Ring of Woke. Duh.
Well, I do like that aspect of it.
Elf leader? Come on, are you kidding me?
I like the idea that like this is showing me all the things that are like going to later come in the third age of that Middle Earth. I don't know. I just like it. But I also have, and I've always kind of said this, I have no problem admitting like it does have a lot of flaws.
I don't hate the show. I'm just saying that I wish it was not on at the same time as Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And they're different. They're totally different.
They are.
I'm just saying that, like, but at the same time, they're not. It's fucking a fantasy show where people wear like armor and ride horses and there's monsters.
It's like
and they have swords. In the end of the day, it's not much different. It's like if fucking Andor was on and like there was some other really awesome sci-fi.
There's a lot more fucking in House of Dragon, I think.
Yeah, House of Dragon is definitely more rated R than. Yeah, that's the problem with Lord of the Rings.
Not enough
fucking. That's been my main pet peeve. I put it on and I'm like, hello.
I think, oddly enough, I kind of finally figured out not my problem with House of the Dragon, but like one of the things that's never really like let me fully enjoy it is that like I can never find my footing with the show because I always know maybe if I'd never seen Game of Thrones or read the books, maybe if I just approached this like completely fresh, I'd like it a lot more because I keep trying to like the thing I love about Ring of Power, where it's explaining how the Third Age came to be. The game of this is like kind of fucking with my idea of what Game of Thrones turned out to be. And all the shifts in time, which I do like. I mean, I think it's an effective storytelling
technique. We're not talking about Game of Thrones yet, buddy.
I know, but it's just like you know what I mean. That has never let me find my footing with the show.
I think that for something that shouldn't work, I think that's working pretty well.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Like time jumps and everything. Like I think it's surprisingly well done for what honestly should not work.
It shouldn't work, and that's I guess I keep thinking about.
I think they've casted pretty good people that look the parts.
Yeah,
you believe like those two boys that are the princess's sons.
Oh,
you believe that that's them older. The one kid who had the curly hair in the first episode, and the one episode before when he cuts the kid's eye out, he looks so much like that, like grown up. You just believe it. But back to Ring of Power.
Yes.
Okay, so what other besides that? What are the other big cliffhangers?
Well, the big cliffhangers are we finally find out that the Southlands have become Mordor. That I think is the last scene of the last episode.
Yeah, that's true because you see that they changed the title and it goes to Mordor. So that's cool. Oh, and that was the big sick reveal. It's like everyone's shitting on this poor dwarf king.
Yeah,
Dwarf on golf. I thought that was crazy.
Right.
They showed. Yeah, what is that actor's name that played Thor?
Tim Conway.
Yeah, I thought it was great.
The holographic Tim Conway.
Yeah, because he's been dead for like 3 or 4
and
years.
The super sexy dwarf Boom Boom that helped him make his decision.
Boom Boom. Yeah, I thought that was great. Like everyone's like shitting on this king, like, oh, father, you're the old ways.
Yeah.
Oh, father. I love how like he has this like Scottish brogue or whatever, the one guy.
Yeah.
And the other dwarves, they don't really have it as much. No. I don't know. And he's like, listen, motherfucker, I don't want to keep mining down there because it's a goddamn Balrog down there.
Well, they don't know that.
Yeah, but he must know that. I think the king knows that there's a reason why you don't go too far. And actually, that's actually great because they actually reference that in the first Lord of the Rings movie when they go to the mines of whatever, because Gimli's like, oh, the meat off the bone, and then there's nothing there, and he's like, what? Because they got greedy and they mined too deep, and they fucking opened the door for.
They woke up a Balrog,
yeah.
Well,
I think there's more than one Balrog.
Yeah, I read about that.
Did they go to the whip store? Where did they get their whip?
There were like 12 of them or something. There weren't a ton of them. They were like very, very powerful, but there were multiple Balrogs.
Right. So like that's why like I think the king clearly knows something's up, and that's why maybe he doesn't know there's a Balrog, but he knows that like there's a reason why we don't go further, because
I thought his explanation was good. He said like our people have this story where we're born like half of rock, half of fire, or something to that effect. And he was basically saying like, look, we believe that you got to let nature take its course. And if nature's killing off the elves, then that's our religious belief. You know, we think that they should.
Nice shitty way of doing. Yeah, right.
Well, I mean, religion often justifies a lot of shitty things, you know. And he's like, that's just, it's time, you know. Like, who are we to provide them with this mithril vaccine? You know, we need to let it take its course. And
let them have sheep paste.
Well, it's funny too because at the same time, it's such a weird scene because the old dwarf king is saying we got to let the elves die because you got to let nature take its course. He's not
like saying like let the elves die, but he's just saying like this is the natural course.
He said, yeah, their time has passed. But at the same time, like in the same fucking conversation, he basically says, you know, when you were born, Durin, you were supposed to die. You weren't latching on. You weren't feeding. You were a sick kid. You were always sick. And every night when your mom went to bed, I held your chin up so you could breathe. And I basically went to these extraordinary efforts to keep you alive, which is the exact opposite of what he had just been saying, that you got to let nature take its course.
I guess he has more he's going to let his son live. I guess
but it's weird that those two conversations, I mean, it's not a coincidence.
There's a contradiction in it, but one is like making sure a baby lives.
Well, of course. Yeah. I mean,
like the other one's like, hey, clear, like even if we do this for the elves, they're probably going to go away at some point.
Yeah.
Like we're just delaying the whatever. Regardless, I think he knows there's something down there too. Why? You know, he probably heard stories from his father.
Yeah, could be.
Said, like, you don't go too far down because there's shit down there that nightmares that we do not want to unleash.
Right.
We're not meant to go further than this.
Well, and they make it real clear, like they keep digging and the mountain shakes and there's a cave in. I mean, there's a lot of like lead up.
That leads into here in our world where like greedy mine owners make people go even further in.
Yeah.
People get killed. I mean, it's the same shit. They're just borrowing from real life, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, I
we'll get into that in Andor because Andor had a lot of that, like colonialism and all kinds of we'll get into that in a bit. So and then like okay, so I don't know, I'll watch it later. Hopefully it's good. Hopefully it ends on a like I want it I think it's been renewed. Pretty
Oh
sure.
yeah, I think they've basically committed to like 5 seasons or something.
Right, but I hope that I want it to still have a satisfying ending.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like, like the promise of more stories, but I want a satisfying conclusion to this.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we're gonna get that just based on like the
Well,
pacing of the show.
I think we're going to get a reveal as to who the stranger is, or who Saruman is, or where is he?
I mean, Sauron.
Sauron. I'm sorry. Yeah. Where is that Hallbrand? Sauron is. I mean, like who is Sauron?
I think I'll tell you, I think it's Sauron.
Hmm.
That kid.
Hmm.
Because okay, so here's the thing, and I heard about this later, that now the theory about that king guy being possibly Sauron is that just like Gandalf and all these other people, like they don't ever really die. They come back in like a new form.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's why even when Gandalf comes back as Gandalf the White, he's technically like a new being, even though and it takes him a while to remember his past as Gandalf the Grey. Like he's like, oh yeah, I was
right.
Oh, and I do fancy them hobbits. Oh,
yes,
Bilbo.
Right.
Oh, Bilbo.
Yeah.
And so it is possible that this guy has no fucking clue that he's Sauron, actually. Like possible, they come back in a different form, and they may not know that, this form of Sauron might actually not be a bad person.
Yeah. Well,
it is a possibility, because I guess they're more like a weird entity or something that is
there's a name for them, right? Well, I don't know. I mean, I think we're going to get a big battle. I think that we're going to see we also see, not a cliffhanger per se, but Gladriel says, I'm going to go report back to the Elven King. So the Elven King is going to get a couple pieces of news. A, the orcs have turned the Southlands into Mordor, and B, the dwarves aren't giving you any of that mithril. So
okay, I swore this is where I'm confused. There's a big battle in the beginning of Lord of the Rings. This show predates that battle, because one guy was saying, where's my son? And it was the name of the king that refused to throw the ring into the fire.
Yeah.
So this show predates that battle then, because in Lord of the Rings, they show the big battle and they're by Mordor. Mordor already looked like shit, like the way it does now. So this show takes place before the big battle. And what's the name of the king?
It starts with the T. Isn't it played by the guy who played Walter Bishop on Fringe?
No. This, I'm talking about a character that was from the past. This is in the beginning of Lord of the Rings, when there's the big battle and they're fighting the physical form of Sauron.
Oh, yeah.
The guy defeats Sauron, takes the ring. They're supposed to throw it in the fire.
And he
refuses to, because the greed kicked in, and that's why
I forget the king's name.
Because there's a character in this show who has that name, but like the father thought he died after Mordor. After Doom exploded. Let me find the.
I do remember this. Gosh, I don't remember the guy's name at all.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Okay, it's Fellowship of the Ring.
Okay.
Oh, you talk or something. No?
Well, I don't think there's a ton of time between this show and the events of like The Hobbit, but even The Hobbit was far before.
Isildur.
Oh, all right.
Isildur. They even say in the Ring of Power in the last episode, they're like, "My son Isildur, where is he?"
Yeah, I don't remember that.
You have no clue what I'm talking about, dude.
No, that's not ringing a bell. I mean,
but you know what I'm talking about in the beginning of Lord of the Rings. There's a big battle, because there's like narration talking about like how the ring disappeared, how it ended up in Gollum's hands for like 5 centuries or something crazy like that. suppose so. I'm assuming this predates that big battle.
Yeah.
Okay.
It would have to. I think this show right here predates the rings existing. They haven't invented the rings yet.
So okay, in the first episode of the series, they showed Sauron.
Yeah.
When was that supposed to take place?
In the past.
I don't know, fucking clue. All right, let's talk about a show that's actually good. Game of Thrones, Ring of Power 7.
Yeah,
as I like to call Lord of the Rings with incest sex.
Yeah, House of the Dragon. I think the show's been solid. I do think that my problem is like never really finding my footing with the show, And from what I understand, the last time jump we're going to be with this cast for a while.
Well, I think it's pretty settled. It's where we want to be because it's like all the kids are older now. Yep. They're all adults or young adults. The king died, so that kind of sets up the story.
Yeah.
Spoilers. The princess and the queen are like at that age now. Matt Smith doesn't age, or it doesn't seem like he ages. Yeah, so you know what's fucked up? You know that king, like how he died?
Yeah.
You know what caused his sickness?
What was it?
You know what it was?
No, what was it?
The fucking throne. He constantly cut himself on the throne.
Yeah.
And he basically just got these staph infections that just like permanently made him sick. Because they didn't have anything back then. They were like, I don't know, give him some milk, give him some drugs, give him some milk of poppy.
Milk of the poppy.
Yeah. Anytime he sat on that throne, they showed him like the first episode a lot too.
I forgot about
constantly cut himself. I mean, look, I always thought it was funny when what's his face died in the first season. Drago. No, what was his name? The guy who plays Aquaman.
Yeah, Drago.
The Dothraki guy.
Yeah.
This gets killed by like a little cut.
Yeah.
I think the witch like infects him or something, but that's literally what he dies from. Like he doesn't die from getting gored, getting his head cut off. It's from like
it's just
literally like a staph infection.
Yeah. Huh.
So that's kind of what this king has had the longest death scene. It took 8 episodes to get there.
Indeterminable.
He looked so gross in the end. Like he looked like that Sketsy in the beginning of Dark Crystal.
Right, yeah.
He has like one of his eyes like clearly rotted out of his skull.
Yeah.
He's like half skull. His teeth are all gross. Like, like everything. He must be in so much pain existing. Like,
well, it does also make for a nice like metaphor that the Iron Throne corrupts people.
But the thing was he himself, and they talk about it, like he wasn't a bad king.
No,
like,
he was fine.
He just he was really guilty of letting his wife die for the baby that died also. He clearly loved this woman and it was fucked up.
He paid for it over the years.
And he made the choice, the ill, or what is considered the ill decision of saying that his daughter would take the throne.
Yeah.
Knowing that there was, especially after Matt remarrying and having other kids and like, not to say that this was a bad decision, but this is what caused all the problems.
Yeah.
And it caused all the problems in the family. It's kind of funny. You think about like Matt Smith's character now. I still think he'd be a bastard, but I don't think he would be as horrible of a king now than he would have been like when the show started. In the show in the beginning, he's like a total just shitbag. He has like that stupid armor. He's like wicked, or he's trying to be. He's trying really hard to be like a jerk. He has all those people killed. It's like he would have been a terrible king at that time.
Yeah, they're telegraphing him to be like a mix of Jamie at his worst combined with Joffrey. That's what they want you to kind of think that that's what he's going to be.
He seems like he's mellowed out a bit, but at the same time, he seems to do what he wants. When he kills that one guy, cuts his head off, that one guy who screams that the Valerian who shows up, who basically just says what everyone else sees, which is that, this is not my nephew. He's the brother of the I guess the father died. her husband got sick. The queen that never was.
Mm-hmm.
Her husband got sick, and this is the brother. He was in a couple other episodes. And he's like, yeah, they're bastards. Like these are
Yeah.
not like I'm not stupid. We're not blind. I guess there is book references, or there. I don't know if there was a book made of this series.
I think there was, or like this guy George R. Martin, he wrote like a ton of weird little things, like a lot of little novellas and stuff. I don't remember if this in particular was part of it, but there's a lot of written material adjacent to the Game of Thrones.
Okay.
I think the
I guess they changed something, and the woman that is the queen that never was did not have white hair. She actually had dark hair.
Okay.
So in the story, supposedly, it wasn't so obvious that these two sons were clearly not the sons of these people.
Okay.
There was a little bit more nuance to it. Like, they had brown hair. She had brown hair, I guess, in the comic. I mean, in the book or whatever they made. So it was a little more like, yeah, they might be. We can't say they're not.
Right.
But in this, where they all have white hair and these two don't, and they're black too on top of it, and these kids are white as hell.
Yeah. I think the pivotal scene for me was the one in the Stepping Stone where Damon's character got bailed out and then became a hero. You know, I think that's where his character changed quite a bit. And I thought that was like a good.
What do you mean?
Well, you know, we were talking about how he originally was set out to be just sort of like, I thought, a mix between Jaime and Joffrey.
Yeah, like I said, that's why in that first episode when he flies away the dragon, I seriously thought he was going to come and just blow up.
Yeah,
and he doesn't.
But he had like a Jaime like evolution when he went to go fight off in the Stepstones.
Yeah, the crab guy or whatever.
Yeah, and I always kind of like when I think of like moments in this show that kind of resonate with me and make me like it a lot. I thought that was like a really good scene, just like I thought like Jaime becoming a halfway decent guy after meeting Brienne was like a good turn, you know, like a good evolution of that
I don't
character.
know if this character's earned that yet. I think he's still I don't know. Like, he's an interesting character. I do like, though, when he sees the guy. So, like, it's great. The guy who got his eye cut out.
Yeah.
He's like, I love that he grown into like the biggest fucking kid. Like he's gonna beat the shit out and kill those kids. Like he looks deadly. And I like when Damon sees him, he kind of looks a little bit like him.
Yeah.
He kind of looks at them and like, you're like a little me.
Right.
You know? Like, yeah, I'm gonna have to watch out for you. You're gonna be a fucking psycho. Like, I mean, kid got his fucking eye cut out.
Yeah, that'll do it.
It's funny. He was like the bullied kid, and now he's like this. He can probably clobber them.
Yeah,
like, he could totally kill them in a sword battle. The other guy's a total piece of shit. What's his name, man? What's his name?
Which one?
The other son, the brother.
Oh yeah, what is his name?
So I guess he married the sister, who kind of sees the future. They said if you pay attention to what she says in the episode, she literally tells you what she says in the next episode.
That's cool.
She's the one that predicts, like, she says something, she's holding something, and when the kid wants the dragon or whatever, and she says you'll be doing with one eye closed or something.
Right. That's funny. Yeah.
Yeah, like she supposedly has like
actual powers, like
and they said that as like supposedly an actual thing. What's the kid's name though? The one who
I'm drawing a blank. A lot of those names just sort of like fade into one another.
Hold on.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking that up now.
So basically, the show, I guess, jumps 6 years or something like that from the last episode to this one. The last one was when the kid got his eye cut out, and there was like a crazy fight scene between the queen and the princess, where the queen stabs her in the arm. Yeah. And they show up basically they know the king's like dying. I forgot what other reasons they show up for, but like the queen's basically just trying to seize power. the
Yeah.
dad's like the hand, and he's totally running the ship. I just love that one scene though when like the king shows up and everyone's like, and you just see him struggling walking in.
Yeah.
And I like when they show Damon kind of help him. Like that's the thing. Like this guy, I know you like. I don't. It's like he rots, but like I don't think it's like he's not a bad king. Like I don't think there should be monarchies, but this is a fictional show and
Yeah.
there's a
Yeah.
monarchy. But if you look at him in comparison to the kings and people we see in power usually in Game of
Oh
Thrones,
yeah.
actually probably like as far as we know, a godsend. Like
Oh yeah. He
he's
has a
like
conscience. He's
he's a
thoughtful.
peacetime king.
Mm-hmm.
Where he fails is he lets the family fall apart by not just outright confronting people or just
Yeah.
like kind
That's
of laying down the law. He was too sick to ever really be like a threat. Like he was always suffering. Even from like the first episode, they show him getting sick with like
yeah.
those wounds that are not healing and
It's
getting
funny
infected.
because I wonder if like later rulers like Cersei or um Tywin or Baratheon, if they learned lessons from this king, like he was too soft and that's why his kingdom fell apart like that, so it's better to be a terrible ruler, like I mean not
Maybe,
a bad
or
ruler but like a
some
an
kings, some
evil.
people are just awful.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that's the case. It's just that Prince Aegon, that's the guy who's
Okay, yeah, it's
so in
Aemond.
the
A
end.
well, A
Okay, go ahead.
isn't Aegon's the older one and Aemond is the
Yeah,
younger one, right?
Aegon's the one that yeah. Aemon's the one with the one eye.
Yeah.
Aegon is the one that's older, who would technically be in line for the throne if
Yes.
it went the way they wanted to. But he's a total piece of shit. There's that poor girl in the beginning that
Oh
I
yeah.
guess she poisons her, right? I mean, they gave her money. I'm assuming the bag of money was for her family
Yeah, that makes
because
sense.
she makes her drink this tea that clearly, I'm assuming, poisoned her.
Yeah, that would yeah. That's
Because
that's
she
what I assumed,
and
right?
the mother, the woman's like, the queen's like, feels sorry for her, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, I can't let you. You've
Mm-hmm.
already told too many people. Like, oh, that's 3 people that know about this now. You're like, okay, this girl's dead.
Right.
But the money for the troubles, like, that's clearly for the family. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's like total. He's just a shit. He's gonna be like a Joffrey,
Yep.
like a shitty, just a terrible person.
Yeah.
So in the end of the thing is, the king knows of a story, a tale,
Mm-hmm.
a tale of ice and fire, and
Right.
it's funny because he's basically predicting Jon Snow, but he's sick
Yeah.
and he can't really get the words out. So as he's dying, like the queen, the princess leaves thinking, okay, I'm going to be queen. But
Mm-hmm.
then he kind of tells the queen as he's dying, like he's saying Aegon, but
Right.
Aegon is the dad of John's or no, Aegon was Jon Snow's real name, I guess.
Yeah. God, yeah.
And he was talking about him. Like Jon Snow will be the one that helps with, ice and fire, story of
Right,
ice and
right. Brings
fire,
like balance to the force.
this prophecy that's been passed down. And I guess he kind of kept it to himself. He hasn't really told the other people about it. And he's dying, and he basically tells his wife in the end, Aegon, which is gonna obviously set kind of all kinds of shit now. Because
Mm-hmm.
now what's gonna happen, you kind of see it in the did you watch the preview?
Yeah, I did this time. Yes.
Spoilers in the preview. They showed like, okay, they're trying to set him up as king because the king said from his deathbed that
That's the
Aegon
name he
would be
gave.
king.
Yeah.
But then there's like, you see like in some orphanage or something, there's a kid with white hair.
Yeah.
I don't know who that was supposed to be.
I have no idea, but I mean, clearly it's a meaningful character.
That one character came back, the one who Matt Smith's character kind of had a relationship with, the woman that's like kind of the head of the
Mm-hmm.
whorehouse.
Yeah.
She's got something going on. Like a spy showed up or something.
Yeah, I almost got the feeling they were like the Sparrows, like they might have been like a group like that.
And then you got that other guy, the club foot. That guy's up to no good.
Yeah,
He's the little finger of the show, the one who's kind
right.
of been like bending the queen's ear a bit and making her
Mm-hmm.
kind of nuts. Um, I don't know. I mean, I really like the show, and the thing is, like, I like the characters, and I
Yeah.
think it does a really good job of. They've done a really good job of casting and having these characters jump. Like, it doesn't feel too jarring.
No, they've done that really well.
I thought maybe the princess would, and the princess, the more older character would be like terrible, but it kind of worked. It's like 10 years jump. She's mature. This woman is more mature. She talks talks more like an adult. The other one was clearly
Yep.
like a teenager. Like I said, the other one, I think it's like perfect. Olivia Cook, who is playing the queen.
Yeah.
That's like a perfect transition. I thought like they got a girl who looks so similar to her.
The casting has been great, and I think I remember one of my initial complaints was that the show just looked dark, like muddy and
Yeah,
kind of like. I think
it is dark. I had
they
to like turn on the brightness on my TV sometimes to
it
watch
seems
it.
like it's gotten a little better though, or maybe I've just gotten used to it.
And again,
Um,
the reason why I like this show, why I think it works better than the Game of Thrones show in itself, is because it is more focused. Like, you don't have 10 storylines going on at once. There are
true.
different storylines, but they all kind of feed in. And the Game of Thrones series didn't have that because that's how the books were. You had like you were getting introduced to all these elements. And
Yeah.
you probably will get introduced to it. I'm curious, like, okay, do they stick with this cast after this, or
I
are they
think
going
they
to do
do.
another time jump?
My guess is that they stick with this cast, and I think that they have the option, kind of a cool option, of doing flashbacks with these other actors for a little bit at least.
So, like, do you know anything about the show? Like, what their plans are? That's
No,
the
I
thing too.
don't.
I'm so clueless to this show. Like, at least with Game of Thrones, it was like, okay, there were like five books that were
Yep.
five books that were out, and there was one that never got made. There was two more that
There's
was supposed to get
two
made,
that
and
have
he
never
never
been
fucking made
written.
them.
Yeah. That
He
motherfucker
was
too.
like, "Yeah, you guys saw the story. I don't know what kind of the book."
Well,
Uh,
you had a clear idea of the stakes and the story they were telling. The Game of Thrones was going to be about the White Walker invasion, what happened at the Wall, and that particular battle for the Iron Throne. That was and whatever happened with Daenerys's folks. Um, but with this, the stakes are a little unclear. I mean, obviously, it's the story of this family and their struggle for power, within the family. But I don't know. And honestly, I haven't looked too much because I do like it. This show, to me at least, needs as much mystery as it can get because it dovetails right into Game of Thrones, which we already
yeah,
know
I
about.
like to what I like about it is I like it. It works on like its own thing. Like, the Star
Yeah,
Wars prequels was always like, well, we got to get to the Star Wars movie.
right.
Like, we always knew where it was going. This, it's like there's enough time that they can tell a compelling story that doesn't need to constantly or hit you over the head with the Game of Thrones you saw.
Yeah.
Like I said, the Tale of Ice and Fire gets mentioned a couple of times, but it makes sense too because it was this
Yeah.
old story.
I'm imagining that this will be in some way the story of how the dragons came to be briefly extinct,
Yeah.
I mean,
It's also like I guess someone's saying that like the one-eyed crow. What was his name? The guy who was like
the
teaching
three-eyed
Grant,
crow, yeah.
that he's the great grandson of Damon and the princess.
Oh,
That line.
okay, sure,
He's
yeah.
the because that's the thing too. You find out I think she's pregnant again.
Mm-hmm.
She is pregnant in this episode.
Yeah.
She holds her belly. And she had two kids with him already. And
Yeah.
they had like because they're incest babies, they had like
Right.
I gotta tell you a funny thing later.
Hmm.
And then I love the dinner scene. I thought that was great. He's having dinner and like the guy's like just happy to have everybody together.
Yeah.
Like, just pretend you like each other for a minute as I drop dead in front of you.
Right.
And then the minute he leaves because he couldn't handle it anymore, I just love how like the two fucking brothers are just like start fucking with the other brothers.
Yeah, for like
And he keeps
immediately.
calling them nephews, like because technically they are the uncles.
Yeah,
I
that's
love
funny.
that. Yeah, it was good. I mean, all right. I think there's 2 more episodes left.
That sounds right.
Yeah. So cool.
There's already a season 2 in the works. They don't have to really wrap anything up. They just need to provide a satisfying cliffhanger that'll take us out of like, this has been kind of an extended preface, or introduction. And I'd imagine that the cliffhanger or whatever happens at the end of season 1 is going to drive us to season 2, which will be probably a big story with all these current characters.
So you think like there won't really be any more time jumps?
I doubt it. I doubt there will be. I mean, there might be like 8 months later. Like sometimes they'll do like, like, oh, we just started the battle, and then like the next episode is 3 months later because they wanted to convey.
I was like watching the new Dexter season because we added Paramount. Have you watched that at all?
No, but I did. I read that everyone hated the ending.
Don't ruin it. I don't get to it yet. But they spoilers, even though the show, I don't know when the show first aired. I don't know if it's just aired this year or not. The big plot is they bring the kid back, his son.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to do like the mental math as I'm watching it. Like the son's supposed to be like 16, but it doesn't even add up. It's like, you know what? Don't even worry about it. Just watch the show. Who cares?
Yeah.
It makes no sense that he would be this much older. That's fine. I
never got into the show after they wrote Dee Dee out and he stopped going down into his laboratory. It was just
You're talking about the same show? Dexter.
Yeah.
You're talking about Dexter's laboratory? You fuck.
Oh, you mean the serial killer?
I didn't realize what you're talking about. Dee Dee. The sister that went down in the laboratory with her.
Yeah. That was a great show too.
Yeah, I was like Dexter's laboratory when you were talking about his dark passenger. Yeah, we would just murder people.
And then one day Dee Dee wasn't there.
So funny. That was good, Joseph.
Yeah, thanks.
That's what we call a good YSGOAT right there.
Well, yeah. So anyway, this no,
I have not. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, two more of this. All right, so the last show that we were going to talk about was
we have 2 more shows to talk about.
Oh shit, that's right. Andor and then She-Hulk.
I know.
And look, I loved Andor. I can't believe that we're only halfway through it. It feels like next week should be the end.
I mean, I like this week's setup for like a bigger story. Like now, I feel like we're going to see the gap. My biggest complaint about this show has been, like, I get it. Like everyone likes the grittiness and like this kind of like, even though it's obviously sci-fi fantasy, there's still like a groundedness to it.
Yep. Yeah.
Dialogue's good. The acting's good. The story's well done. My complaint, and I think this is a valid complaint, because I'm watching a Star Wars, is not enough aliens.
Where are the Gungans?
Where are the Gungans? Where's the pumpkin pie? Where is the turkey? Come on, Charlie.
Yeah, well, I think that's real valid. I saw on Twitter.
Where are the Gungans? Yeah, that's the ones I'm thriving for. Like throwing a Twi'lek,
Well, you had said, you and some other guy were talking on Twitter, and the other guy said, look, this is a small team of people specifically designed to infiltrate an Empire base. They're going to have to be human. And
the Empire was, and I said that in the show. I said my critique of it is that you have, and maybe that's why, next week maybe we'll see a bunch more aliens.
Yeah.
Now.
Well, you did see aliens not aliens, but you saw the robot in the first episode or two, the droid, and I think the aliens in that like strip club, I think they were aliens.
Oh yeah,
it
was like weird aliens, like in that red light district when he's walking through.
Yeah.
I love that there's like in the bubbles. No, there is, but like I said, I'm just saying most of the show is like, the last 2 episodes has been this like rebel faction in the woods, and I'm like, this could just be like the fucking hundreds. You know what I mean?
Well, it reminds me a lot of.
Listen, it's not I'm not saying the show is bad. I'm not saying that this is a terrible show. I'm just saying that this is. There is just an element like one of those characters, one of those girls could have been a Twi'lek, or like one of the guys could have been. It doesn't matter. Or even just in the fucking background, just walking around in the fucking or that group of people that were like.
Well, there were opportunities to showcase aliens. Whenever you see Mon Mothma or the I forget the guy's name, but Skarsgård, the
Well,
antiquities
again,
dealership.
I think, and maybe this will be something they talk about in the next episode or something like that. And this was something in the comics and the books, is that Palpatine was like basically like a huge fucking racist. He hated aliens, which is weird because like, aren't they all aliens? I don't know how.
Yeah, it's
a little weird because it's not like it's one planet and then all the aliens come to this planet.
Right.
There's a human planet. There's different planets with different humanoids. But supposedly Palpatine did not like he wanted like humans or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
That's why the Empire looks like the way it does. Again, I think also the limitation of budget has always been the reason why you didn't see as many aliens in the first Star Wars movie, except for the cantina scene. Whatever. I'm just saying that it would make sense to have a little more. That's what makes Star Wars versus like the Expanse or the and again, I'm not trying to ruin anyone's viewing experience.
Yeah.
If this is your favorite show in the world, please enjoy it. Don't let me ruin it for you in any way. Like,
right,
trying to ruin Ring of Power for you.
Well, it is definitely a different kind of Star Wars, and there are times when it doesn't feel like Star Wars,
But then there's times where, like, I do like when they show the technology and everything, and it is like, it does work perfectly. So one of the cool things is they're on this planet and you're introduced to like this one Imperial, and he has this family or whatever. He's clearly like a high ranking, but not high enough to fuck off that planet.
Right.
But I guess the whole plot is there's this like group of people, like the natives or whatever, and they do this pilgrimage.
Yeah.
And their goal is to kind of like chip away at them to like distract them, get some of these, because I guess it's this long, painful pilgrimage that they do.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, look, there's a Burger King and a whorehouse over here.
Yeah, they put up bars and stuff when offered free drinks. It really
is kind of funny because that's kind of like colonialism.
Yeah, it's a lot like that. And it's kind of like a cool look at the Empire. Because it is a lot of people just doing their job, and they're certainly not good people, but they're not like monsters, they're just like awful bureaucratic kind of pencil pushers. It is weird. I always forget about that one woman who's trying to piece together the plot, the rebel plot, the woman who's working at like the headquarters of the Empire.
The blonde lady.
Yeah.
And
she's now kind of she for a long time has been trying to tell people like, oh, there's a fucking shark in the water, and no one's believed her. And at the end of episode 6, you get the idea that like now they all know there's a shark.
Well, there was that one guy who, I mean, did you know he was like the one Imperial, the higher up guy?
Yeah.
Who ends up revealing to be a rebel.
Yeah. Well, they kind of revealed that last week too.
Okay.
They gave a couple scenes where like a Empire foot soldier made some bullshit comment about the locals, and the guy, like, they zoomed in on his face and you could tell he didn't like that comment, and then he said something else like, I've lived here for 7 years or something. There's some, I can't remember if they overtly said it, but there's big hints last week that he was a rebel, a sympathizer.
Yeah, I like the whole, like, that one guy who was like in charge, how he's this kind of like this heavier dude, well-fed, well-rested, and he couldn't and then they make him do that like physical work thing, and the guy ends up getting a fucking heart attack. But it's, it just shows too, like, the Empire is too cocky. What did they say about the Empire? The problem is that there was like a great line about
there was
Empire.
The guy said, like, we're going to teach the Empire a lesson, and Andor says, like, you're not going to teach them a lesson because they don't care. They don't care anything about learning anything. Like, they don't need to.
Weakness.
Yeah.
Is hubris.
Yeah. And basically that's the kid who eventually gets killed. The young kid who gets crushed.
Yeah, I know. It's a poor kid.
Oh, yeah.
The one who had he had a manifesto that he passes on.
Yeah. he was saying like, they're going to care. I'm going to show them they're going to care about what I have to say. And Andor's like, no, they'll never care. Even if you like pull this off and kill a bunch of soldiers or what, they still won't care.
So, no, he's right, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But again, but I think at the same time, you got to look at it as like, that's a weakness, and that's how you beat them, is that they don't care. That most of them don't, because they're either in it just for the opportunity or in it because, again, it was like, okay, yesterday the Empire wasn't here and today the Empire's here, but I still got my job, so I don't care. There's that. There's people just trying to get by. Basically saying like a lot that there's people who are not as like the love for the Empire is not as high as for some others.
Well, this episode kills a lot of characters off.
Yeah.
There's very few. The only ones left of that team are Andor and the woman who like
blonde woman.
Yep. And I'm imagining the one girl that had the long rifle. I think
the one who stayed behind dressed as an Imperial. And she was watching. It was interesting. Like in the end, you see like the native group or whatever that looked like a reject from a drum circle.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I was like having flashbacks of like Chico or something.
Yeah.
I was like, come on, man. Like, seriously, this was like the funniest thing. I felt like, you ever seen the movie Wonderlust? It looked like a commune.
Yeah.
That movie's so funny.
Yeah.
Let me see. The problem. Here, she played Sinta Kaz, the one who stayed behind. I'm assuming they were implying that those two were lovers.
It seemed that way, maybe.
They were trying to hide it, but they were like looking at each other like, okay, these are not. These aren't just friends. And that's cool. It's a big galaxy.
What happened to the Empire? The guy who was sympathizing with the rebels, did he get killed or did he stay behind?
I don't know if he got shot, and it's possible he's dead.
Okay,
he got shot. He was like curled up, but it's like possible.
Right.
We'll find out next week. He doesn't show back. He's dead. I would think that would be a waste to kill him. I feel like that's an interesting character.
Yeah.
You would learn a little bit more like what made him change his mind. You kind of saw that again in Obi-Wan with that one woman who kind of helps like bring people that she was still an Imperial, but she's kind of sick of it and seeing like how bad it is.
Yeah.
And again, we talked about this in last week's episode. It's like, this is a huge galaxy. You can see why the Empire would be attractive to people who are well-meaning.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's possible that during the Clone Wars or whatever, that they had a fucking warlord running everything. And then here comes the clone troopers of the Empire and they take it over. And they give jobs and opportunity. So you could see how people would be like,
yeah, for sure.
Empire's great. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have a problem. But then you also see other places where it's like, this fucking sucks. There is no opportunity. It's just a police state and they're terrible.
Yeah.
Let's get rid of them.
You can definitely see like how good people might join it.
That one guy who, it's a long episode too, this one.
Yeah, it's like 45 minutes or so.
Arville Skeen, he's the one
who
kind of was questioning Andor's like allegiance. Was that last episode or early?
Yeah.
And he tells this bullshit story about his brother.
Yeah.
And at the end of the spoilers, when everything's all said and done and they got the money and they're like, so basically that one guy gets, poor kid, Nemec, the one who has like the manifesto and everything, he gets crushed by the money.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
The ship, they got a blast, and unfortunately he was in the way. It's all this weight.
Yeah.
This is why they need to use crypto,
Right. Well, someone said it's like a metaphor for capitalism. I don't buy that. Like the dude
just getting crushed by the money?
Yeah.
I do. I could see what that means. No, well, it's like he got crushed by like, because that's what it was all about. It was getting this money and like the payroll basically. And this is like literally the thing that's going to help fund the rebellion. Yeah. I mean, they got like what, $80 million or something?
80 million credits. Bucks.
Pizza Hut. Pizza Hut is going to be pissed.
Right.
80 million space bucks.
Well, it is
but that guy, I guess they try to save this kid's life. The best is when they give him the adrenaline shot.
Yeah. Yeah.
That whole scene was great, but with the weird light show and everything, and the TIE fighters coming after him,
It
it was very tense
was
and
a
very well
great,
done.
yeah, it was a great escape scene. I thought, here's what I thought. Like, okay, so the bad guy, the guy who played Richie on The Bear, Skeen, I guess his name was, he becomes like a traitor eventually. So, but as they're leaving, the leader, the blonde woman, is kind of debating: do we want to save Nemec or do we want to make a run for it? Because the mission should come first. And Skeen is like, no, we got to save the kid. So you're thinking, oh, he's a real nice guy. He
Yeah,
cares
but
about the kid.
no, he wanted to go to an offshoot planet so he can
Yeah,
take the ship. If they took it, if they went all the way there, it would have been more difficult to steal
right.
the money.
But then he gets there and he says, when he has Andor alone, he's like, look, let's split the money. We'll get out of here and we'll be, rich. And Andor's like, what about your brother? And then he goes, I don't have a brother. And everyone, I think, assumed that that meant he made up the whole story, but that's not how I took it. I took it as him saying, like, oh, my brother's dead. I don't have a brother. Like,
It's possible, but it's also possible that he was lying.
yeah,
And you can look at it both ways.
everyone agrees he
I
was
don't think it's
lying.
as layered as you're making it. I think it's more
Yeah.
like this was part of a con, and you tell a sympathetic story of why you're there, and and it makes you look like you really like. What better way to do but to constantly judge, because he questions Andor's
Yeah.
motive. He sees the $30,000.
And the people that do the
rule.
questioning are usually the guilty ones.
Right. The ones that, because he's trying to find something wrong. And it's like, well, my brother, that's a sob story. Now, it's not the case always. There's people who do have sob stories,
right.
But it makes sense that what better con than to like claim this like tragic story. And then it's like, no, I actually didn't have any of that.
Right.
And then and it shows again how Andor is. Fuck, he just shoots him. He's like, he would have no, because he knows, and honestly, I mean, like, I don't know if I agree with his tactics, but like, he would have killed him at some point. No way, that's bullshit.
After
come with me, help me, we'll split the money.
After he revealed that, he would have killed Andor for sure.
Yeah, or he would have tried to. Totally, just shot him in the back. Like anyone that has bad intent is gonna screw you over. Like, why do they want you to help? You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah,
like they've already showed themselves to be awful. Why are they going to be good to you?
Yeah.
And he kind of, they're in the doctor. He's holding like the gun. I like the doctor has 4 arms. Oh my god, I got an alien.
Yeah, he's an alien
in the show. At first, I thought he was like one of those fucking because the eyes. I thought it was like one of those. What's that woman's name from?
I forget, but yeah.
Maz Kanata, the Yoda, the failed attempt at a Yoda in the new Star Wars movies. I thought it was one of those, like another version, like that race.
Right.
But it was a totally different one. So I feel like we're gonna start seeing more aliens. I like they then go to the arts, whatever, the antique store, whatever.
Yeah.
Sells antiquities with the guy who's like, I guess, funding this group. And I guess he finds out that it was successful. We got the money.
Yeah.
Kind of does like a little happy dance.
Yeah. That was a little gimmicky, but like it was a good scene.
I do like, I guess they showed like Mon Mothma like in the Senate.
Yeah.
They showed like how the Senate's based. I didn't even realize that there was a Senate anymore. I always thought like the Senate was completely dissolved once the Empire came in, but I guess it was just for show. And they're just showing like none of these people take it seriously, anymore. They're all like Lauren Boebert, or
it was just a show thing, because even in A New Hope, Leia was a senator. I mean, she was an acting senator. Leia. She said, I'm on a diplomatic mission.
Yeah.
So I mean, she was ostensibly a senator.
Well, so was her dad, Senator Organa.
Yeah.
Dale Organa was a senator. So, but they're just showing that like the Senate's a joke.
Yeah.
She's trying to like talk about like some atrocity.
It's toothless. Yeah.
No one cares. No one's even listening. They're just, and then like half the seats were empty. I thought it was weird because I thought the Emperor destroyed all that when he was tossing him at little Yoda. Remember, he was just like flinging him at
Yoda. Yeah.
So crazy. Right. Yoda's dodging him. Like a really cool scene. And I always like that because I'm always like, man, there is no limit to these powers. You can just do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
Like there's always like these power rules. Like, okay, this character can do that, this character can do that. And then you're just like, fucking, well, the Emperor just
right
fling all the Senate seats, or like in the Obi-Wan show, yeah, fuck it, Darth Vader can pull a ship down and fucking destroy it. Why not? There's no we do whatever we fucking want.
Yeah. Huh. Wow.
Why didn't Darth Vader do that in the movie? Shut up. Shut up and just enjoy.
Just enjoy it.
Just enjoy it. Do you think we'll have Darth Vader in Andor?
I hope not. It wouldn't surprise me. He would.
I doubt it. That'd be weird. It doesn't even fit the tone of the show.
No, this is like a real.
We don't want to make it look like Star Wars, right?
Yeah, it's a real gritty, kind of low thing. I think it's basically the story of how Andor goes from like mercenary to true believer.
I also think it's showing you the small events that lead to the big event.
Yeah,
you can't have the big event without the small events. I mean, that's
right.
kind of what Rogue One was about too. Like, hey, if it weren't for these people who sacrificed their lives, the rebels would never be able to destroy the Star Destroyer to begin with. And I do, one of the cooler scenes too is I like when they show the TIE fighter pilots going into the TIE fighters.
Oh, that was great.
Set up. That's pretty cool. Because even people are always like, how the fuck did they get in those things?
Yeah.
I guess a little ladder or something. I don't know.
That was a great scene. I liked, even though it's kind of dumb, I liked that they only sent 3 TIE fighters after them. It's kind of like a low scale little effort.
Well, they're like, it's just one thing. Why do you think
like
3 should have done the job?
Right. Yeah. But it's been great. I loved Andor. I think crazy that we have another half the season to go, but yeah.
No, it's great. I hope I have a feeling next episode won't be as crazy as this one.
Yeah.
I will say though, the first half of the episode I was bored out of my mind, but then it picked up.
Yeah.
In the last 20 minutes. But like I said, I could not stand the drum circle people. I was like, this is like Berkeley or something.
Yeah.
It's like okay, so like it was clearly like it was like mixed race, like there was like all different people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why don't you just throw some fucking aliens in there
too?
One of them could have been a Rhodian. One of them could have been like one of those what's that guy's name? The guy who was like Anakin's slave master.
Yeah, I forget what he was, but clearly
that's good.
At a drum circle, you should have had at least 3 or 4 Babu Fricks.
Babu Fricks, yeah, exactly. Like
doing a little hacky sack,
carry on the back. There, Babu Frick is in season 3 of Mandalorian. Though.
Yeah.
We're excited about that, right?
He shows up with a hacky sack.
Yep, big fat joint,
right?
High as fuck.
Philly blunt.
Babu Frick was so stoned. He's like,
he and Grogu are going to get into some wacky hijinks, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, they're like same height, so it only makes sense that would happen.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess that's really all I have to say about Andor. Do you have any final thoughts about Andor?
No, I just think I have a feeling that my complaints about my one only real complaint about the show will be rectified in the next couple episodes. I think because like as Saul Guerrero becomes part of the show and his group is all just different aliens and people and stuff, you're gonna see like that different element of the Empire and show that like maybe they'll discuss and talk about like the real, like it's not there's so much more to it. Like,
well, I think that would work too. Like all of a sudden, if there's a bunch of aliens around, then Andor's world will seem much bigger to him. You know what I mean? Like he'll be able to
galaxy.
Well, he'll just react like with more wonder and kind of curiosity, like what this is a whole world I didn't imagine existed. So it'll be good.
Well, I could say it is possible too that we haven't seen as many aliens because there was an answer in the new She-Hulk.
Oh yeah, they're expensive.
Kevin says to She-Hulk, "You're a little too expensive." Can you turn back to Jen? Why is that?
Off screen,
off screen, of course, because we're working on the next project.
Yeah,
you get what Wakanda music playing in the background.
Yeah, I thought that
She-Hulk episode 9 season finale.
I thought it was great. It was so out of left field. It was. I really really liked it a whole bunch.
Yeah, I thought it was. I didn't. It's weird. It's like I don't know if I like if it did what I wanted because I had no idea this would happen, but at the same time, I don't leave mad. Like part of me
Yeah,
wishes there was like a big battle in the end, but
yeah,
part of
yeah,
me is also like, you know what? It actually makes sense that this would be the way it goes. So anyone who's watching this probably like, this is so stupid. Well, in the comics, she did shit like that. She would literally rip panels apart. She would
yeah,
literally. This is sensational She-Hulk series. She would literally jump into different scenes. She'd be like, "Oh, I don't like this story," and literally go up to John Byrne, who was writing it, and like threaten to kill him. Like,
yeah.
uh, this was in the comics, and the show has been kind of slowly doing that. Okay, so the beginning of this show was so fucking awesome. They where we last left off,
Yeah.
She-Hulk is getting an award,
Yep.
and the fucking intelligentsia uh, fucking men's rights group
Yeah. It was funny.
fucking like attacked her with like this video showing her having sex with this guy and like just like a horrible attack on
Yeah.
her. She loses her shit. She becomes the savage She-Hulk, and she gets basically taken in.
Yeah.
And the beginning of this episode is an homage to the 70s
Oh God,
show.
so funny.
Dude, everything they show her like in the chair,
The
the car
music.
scene when she
Hmm.
transforms. I love that they got another like this big woman to be like
Yeah. Oh, like a
like
Lou Ferrigno like woman. Yeah.
yeah, that was so good because they even recreate the scene with her in
Yeah.
the dress from the last episode. And I love like the way they did the grainy footage. Like I kind of hope that maybe when they do like another horror show for
Hmm.
Marvel, like they did with Werewolf by Night, I kind of hope they do one like in that style
Yeah.
where it's like grindhouse looking old TV
Yeah.
show, like 70s, like grainy footage. Like that'd be a cool fact because this looks so good.
It was great. And like it
And
was, if you ever watched the Hulk show as a kid, it was like so clear what they were doing right away. It was really, really good.
yeah, everything. Like it is funny though. I do like they show that she's been in prison. They basically
Hmm.
say, listen, you have to wear a power adapter. You're not going to be She-Hulk. Of course, she's not She-Hulk anymore. She gets fired. She's probably gonna get fired anyway because
Hmm.
it's like the Hulk says to her in the first episode about like warning her about like you think you got your shit together and everything, but
Yeah.
the minute you step out of line and do something that scares people, whatever, that shows you're a monster,
Hmm.
people will never let you forget.
Yeah.
They kind of did in the end. That was fine. We'll forgive. But the Hulk's making a point, and that's kind of what happens. And she can't be She-Hulk anymore. Like when she goes to her parents' house and the mom's asking her to move shit, and she's like, "Yeah, I can't
Yeah. I can't
do
do
that
that.
anymore."
Like, no, I
But
can't.
she's trying to find, she wants to take them to court. Like she's like, I'm gonna sue you guys. Like
Yeah.
this, like she's not looking at like I want to physically kill you or destroy you. I want to like legality. Like
Yeah.
this was an attack on my privacy. You stole my phone. You like
Yep.
hacked into like you showed personal. Her having sex with this guy. Like she's going after them with like she wants to go after them, and she she like gets I don't know, she's like sick of living at home. I love
Yeah.
the mom's like, well, because she can't afford to live in an apartment, she moves back to the house. It's so good. And I love the scene where she's like, the mom's like, well, I did turn your room into an exercise
Yeah.
room and I do start at like 7 in the
7
morning.
a.m.
I was like this is too fucking funny. Like the jokes in this show are so well done. Like
Yeah,
they're
they're
just like
good.
little like it, everything about it. Like it's just sometimes it's just subtle. It doesn't have to fucking hit you over the head. It's just funny, you know.
Yeah. Well, and the actress Tatiana Molansky, I don't think I'm saying her name right, but she's so good. I mean, she's real pretty and she's a good actress, but she like at times looks like a cartoon character. She has like
Yeah,
a
yeah,
crooked smile and she has these expressions and
and she's a good comedic actress too.
yeah, she really is. Um,
Um, so she's like, fuck it, I'm gonna. Well, she's been trying to get in touch with her cousin, who's clearly we know from episode 2, clearly off planet.
yep.
And so she tries to get in touch with Emo Blonsky. because she needs someone to talk to.
Yeah.
And he, of course, has no Wi-Fi, or that's the joke.
Right.
And I love she shows up. She's like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna show up." I will say the one thing about the show I am a little disappointed,
Huh.
and I can understand why people would not like it, is the Wrecking Crew. I think they fucking wasted them.
Yeah.
Maybe this isn't the last we'll see of them. The guy who's playing the Wrecker, I'm sorry, that guy, the Wrecker is like just a piece of shit. Like
Yeah.
he's just like I mean, he's a bad guy. And this guy is like he's already like come together with himself.
Yeah, he's redeemed
like,
himself.
Yeah, like he had one dumb little scene where he was, even when he was like kind of attacking her, like the main goal was just get her blood. They were just like, "Hey, lady, just kind of stay still for a second." Like it wasn't like he was like, "I'm gonna get you, She-Hulk."
Right.
You know, it wasn't never. So I don't know. Like I could see why people would be annoyed by that.
Sure.
That those are cool looking characters. You could have used them in like the Thunderbolts movie and the Avengers movie. They make good villains, a good action scene that we're not going to get now. You know, it could change. That could all change. You know, they might show up in Captain America movie where the leader is going to be in it. Supposedly She-Hulk will be it, even though the Kevin robots, she won't be in the movie, which is kind of funny.
Great. Yeah.
Like, no, you're a TV character. Sorry.
We'll save it for the movie. Really? No.
No. So she goes to Oblonsky's place. She's staying there. She's trying to find him. And isn't it, what's the Rutgers name guy?
Phelps, is it? Or Joshua?
I don't even know. Yeah, he's just like, yeah, I'll take you to him. He's like at this thing. And then you see Todd, that guy who I told you was going to be like the one that on that bad date. They're like, okay, this guy's up to no good. He's the leader of the group. And they're like literally like straight up chuds.
Oh, yeah.
Like they're talking. I love that the guy's like, you know, I don't hate the female Thor.
Right.
But like, it's like, you just don't like her because she's a woman. Like they're trying to come up with some bullshit. I thought that was actually really funny.
Yeah.
I wish they had someone who looked like the Quartering.
Oh,
but he probably would be tweeting how he's going to sue them.
Yeah.
Probably. He would totally be like, I'm suing defamation. Or like a guy who looks like Tim Pool or something.
Yeah, right. A little beanie.
Yeah, I think they did have a guy with a beanie. I like that Todd wore like a fedora. There was definitely a fedora there too. I mean, the whole thing was like really funny. And then like the Abomination, I love that too. He shows up as the Abomination, and she's like pissed. She's like, "You're not supposed to be doing this."
Right,
and he's like, "Well, I don't, but I do it when they pay me like a lot of money."
Right. Yeah.
He just changes the Abomination. He's just a fucking motivational speaker.
Yeah.
Like a motivational
He's real chill. Yeah.
I thought that was so funny. And then all of a sudden, all these characters show up. Todd's like, "Give me that Hulk blood that I had synthesized."
Yeah.
And
he becomes Hulk King. Hulk.
Dude, that scene was so funny. They said, I was watching something, someone pointed out and said that like they made the transformation scene look like the 2003 Hulk movie.
Oh, wow.
It changes. It's similar.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because it was meant to be like kind of cheesy.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that was really funny though. He's like, "Ow!" Look at him as a Hulk. As a Hulk was so funny looking.
Yeah.
And then fucking all of a sudden, Titania shows up. And the Hulk shows up, and she's like, her friend, and what's that guy's name? The one lawyer?
Pug.
Pug?
Pug. Yeah, Pug.
No, I think it's Pug, right?
It's Pug, like the dog, like PG. Yeah.
I do like what's her face, her assistant, who I guess we were never revealed that she was
not this season, no.
But I do like when she showed up in the last episode, and she had the makeup, and she kind of went like this.
Yeah.
Wolverine claws, and I do like how there's little Wolverine things throughout this series. If you look, there was like a egg, and one of the papers says "man in bar with claws."
Oh, huh.
And her doing that, and then later on when Jen's talking to the Kevin thing and says, "and the X-Men too," and she
right.
It's like a thumbs up. So she's like, "What the fuck is going on here? No, I don't like this."
Yeah, she breaks the fourth wall, and it's like, is this the ending you guys wanted? Like, is this?
This is so stupid. Like, why is Titania here? Why would the Hulk be here? This is Michael. He should be saving. I do like though that even though Emil Blonsky was like clearly still shady,
mm-hmm.
Isn't full on villain.
No, he's not a villain.
No, he saves like when Todd or whatever is about to attack her, he lifts up Jen and tries to like get her out of danger. And then the Hulk shows up, and of course there's the misunderstanding.
Right.
Like emails like doesn't really want to fight. He's like,
no.
It's funny when my only issue with that is when he's in his abomination form, the voice of what's his name? That actor, Tim Roth.
Yeah,
It's just sounding like Korg a little bit.
It definitely is a little jarring to see that voice come out of that body, but
yeah, I like his head's kind of small in there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like that the clothes too. He's wearing that outfit. It's like
right.
Really,
yeah.
I guess the clothes shrink. I don't. It doesn't even matter because they basically prove that whole scene was bullshit. And
yeah,
gets pissed. It goes to the Marvel screen, and she literally breaks through, looking to go somewhere else. Sees it like there's like a documentary or something.
Yeah.
Of Marvel Assemble or something. She's like, I'll go through here. You want to explain anything else?
Yeah, well, the whole thing, it looks like it's a really cool effect. It looks like your screen goes back to the loading Disney screen. Like you would press the button to go to the home screen.
Of Marvel.
Right. Yeah. And then Jen pops up, and where the panels are, where you can like choose the show you're going to watch, she pops out of one, and then she like kicks one in and kind of enters it. And the next thing you know, she's
at the studio, basically.
Yeah, she's basically at Disney Studios, and in a real life, real world, of people writing the show, and it's like super meta, obviously.
Real quick, because you brought up Disney, I forgot to say this during Hellraiser. So someone had a really funny TikTok.
Oh, I saw this.
The thing about that. So they said that like they made Pinhead into a woman.
Yep.
And it's a Hulu, and Hulu is owned by Disney. Therefore, Pinhead is a Disney princess.
Yeah, she's the queen of hell, making her a Disney princess. Yeah. That was pretty good.
Right.
Yeah, okay. So and then she's in like our world, in which she's clearly a fictional character, but she's going to confront the guy who writes
her. Well, she goes to the writers, and the writers are like, they say Kevin Feige, like no one talks to him.
Right.
Then she goes there. I love there's like a hallway fight with security. That was pretty
It was good.
And then she goes in there, and Kevin is a AI. But what I liked about Kevin, though, is that he still had his baseball cap on.
Yeah.
Like he had the rim.
Yeah.
Kevin Feige guy always wears a hat. And that conversation's pretty funny.
It is.
Even acknowledge, like, yeah, we've kind of had an issue with like not having enough women.
Right.
And then like I like Kevin Feige's like, yeah, some more than others. I'm talking about like how everyone enjoys these movies, some more than others or whatever. Like I thought that was a pretty funny acknowledgement. I do like how there's like a criticism of like how these shows kind of end a little too similar.
Yeah.
Like, and she's like, you know what? I love it because it's like she's like, no, I'm gonna make my own ending.
Yeah.
I don't want to. Why does Todd need to be Todd getting Hulk and turning the Todd is just the bad guy? Why does he have to be Hulk? Like,
well, yeah, she's like the powers aren't the villain. I mean, like the villain is his behavior. It was a cool way to talk about stories and how this story works. I thought the funniest part was when
Daredevil show up for no reason, just because what you said something about smashing him?
Yeah, she's like, I'm a Hulk, that's what we do. We smash bad endings, something else, and every once in a while Matt Murdock can
Yeah. And then she makes references to like other stuff. Like I said, I like that she references the X-Men.
Yeah.
Like looking at the crowd, giving a thumbs up. And Kevin Feige's like, I can't tell you that.
Yeah. It's just a great little ending. And then
season 2, I can't tell you that.
It goes back, and she has like the more traditional ending where basically Matt Murdock is having dinner with her family.
Can't we do this like during the daytime? Why does it have to be
right? So angsty in the evening.
The funny thing is, I think She-Hulk actually looks better in the outdoors.
Oh yeah, me too.
The lighting, I mean, she looked the best in this episode. There's some episodes where it's a little wonky.
Yeah.
Like the wedding episode, she didn't look that great. Like
for me, it's never so much the body. It's like when they show I don't know why, but they often show up a close up of her hands, or when they often showed her like putting on high heel shoes, and her extremities, her hands and her feet just don't look real, obviously because they're CGI.
That's what I'm saying. Like they hope they kind of just do a patch on the show and just like
Yeah,
it.
I'm fine. I mean, like, look, I'm not watching this show for
It's not
spectacle.
just a movie either. I feel like we're getting.
Yeah.
I'm not like making an excuse for a billion-dollar corporation. I'm just saying like the audience is spoiled. Like, dude, I mean, maybe I'm just showing my age, but we didn't have anything that looked like this.
No.
That's
But
why it was funny when they showed the Savage She-Hulk show and
yeah.
the made-up show, and there was just like a woman bodybuilder as
right.
She-Hulk. Like that's what it would have been. Like that's what it would have been. Like it's funny.
Yeah. But when I'm watching like Avengers Endgame, I want the spectacle. I want to see all those characters. I want to see them clearly. I want to see them come through the portals. That's what I want to see. With She-Hulk, the show, I like the banter. I like the dialogue. I like the situations. The action shots are great too, but it's just a different thing. So,
it's like the same thing with like Andor, like this last episode. Yeah. They were like movie quality effects, like that whole scene when the ship's trying to escape and that crazy like what the pilgrimage is about, going to this area where they're like there's a lake, like was it a shower or something that creates this weird rainbow effect, and then the TIE fighters coming up, like that shit looked as good as the movies. And I'm saying, like, we're getting as an audience, it's like they're making product that used to just be in the movies and now on their streaming services. But the problem is, I'm like, okay, are they hurting movies, or do they just know through their algorithms and data that really movie theaters are becoming more niche and that the real money is in streaming? So we have to make sure the product looks as good as possible. So I think we as an audience are spoiled by like
it could be
complaining about She-Hulk, and it's like, dude, you're getting like a CGI character for like the main character, and it's a TV show. Like technically, it's not a movie. I mean, like if it was a movie, I can understand maybe having more criticism on it. Like,
sure,
paying to see this. This is 2022. These effects should be like spotless. She-Hulk, like the funny thing about CGI and everything, like the model is fine. She looks great. It's just sometimes the lighting's a little wonky.
Yeah.
The lighting's a little wonky. The CGI characters don't look that great. That's why they do like a little patch sometimes. And it's like video games do that too. You can download a patch and like glitches are fixed and like whatever looked wonky doesn't look wonky.
It's all of a sudden, smoothed out.
Yeah. So I could see them probably doing that. But like I said, and that's why this ending not being this stupid big battle is kind of cool. It played more in line with the show. Her conversation with the robot Kevin is funny,
real good,
and it's interesting too because it's like I myself being more of a comic fan, like they're not really referencing the comics, they're referencing the MCU as a movie, show. This is that universe. The comics are not what they're referencing. They're not like ripping out a comic panel. They're not like, it's basically like when she goes into that room and sees all the screens and sees like Thor Ragnarok and Endgame, like what the fuck is going on here? It's very like the Matrix when he goes and talks to that Colonel Sanders guy.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I don't know. I'm wondering. I'm sure some people will complain about it. I think it was clever. I think it was well done.
Yeah,
can't do it again. It's
right.
fine.
I don't want to see this a lot next season, but I thought it was a great conceit.
I think it was just funny because it's like my only disappointment is okay. Well, there is still a story where the Hulk blood was taken.
Yeah,
was taken. That was part of the story. So, like, will this show up in season 2, or will this lead into like a movie, like Captain America Winter? So, the new Captain America movie where the leader is the main villain, which the leader is technically a Hulk villain.
Yeah.
Will this bleed into?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like, will this blood show up somewhere? Thunderbolts or something? I mean, clearly they're using it for something else. I think the Todd Hulk was kind of funny because the Todd Hulk still had the scarf.
Right.
I did watch this last episode before. The last episode with Leapfrog.
Yeah.
At the courtroom drawings there in the end.
Yeah.
One was Todd outbidding Leapfrog for
that's right. Yeah.
And it's like the funniest drawing. Like he's all like Leapfrog's all upset. Of course, that guy would be at that same place.
Right.
Todd got the Wakanda spear. Yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good.
The ending was, yeah, I loved it. Definitely a really, really fun show. This was kind of a surprise. I knew I'd like it, but I didn't think I'd like it as much as I do.
I like the end too with Wong.
Oh, so good.
And Email Blonsky.
Yeah.
Where he basically, because Email, oh, that was a joke too. Like Email will go back to jail. Like she writes it all. She's like, he'll just, and he's like, you're right. I was wrong. I'll go back to jail. She's like, you can write more haikus while you're there.
Yeah. And he's there for like 15 minutes. Wong shows up to bust him out.
Yeah.
He's late because he got hung up binging a TV show. Like,
yeah, binging. What's her face?
Yeah, Madison.
I thought Madison would have showed up in that scene. That would have been kind of
that
funny.
would have been great. My guess is that they probably didn't realize how well received she would have been.
I bet she'll be back for season 2.
I hope so.
I hope so. A long episode again.
Yeah. Well, that was great. I can't wait for another season. I liked pretty much everything about it. I don't have any complaints.
I like too that her story in the end is like so like last week we got the true superhero costume, the superhero episode.
Yeah.
We didn't save it for the last episode. They saved it for this one because that was the more like the battle, and she learned from Daredevil. Like, hey, you can do both. You could be a lawyer and help people out, but then you do the superhero stuff to help people. The law doesn't work. It doesn't work. Take the law in your own hand, just like any lawyer would say, right?
Pretty much.
Pretty much. When she's being interviewed and she's walking in, and the guy says, like, she said something about being like a superhero, also a lawyer and a superhero, and then the guy's like, "What are you wearing?" or something.
Right, and she's just like,
this. She just walks away.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah. I think it's a satisfying ending.
Yeah.
I like that they acknowledged the convoluted big battle in the end. How ridiculous that would have been. Like Titania just showing up was funny.
But it was cool. It was cool because you got the best of both worlds. You actually got to see that for a moment, and then it was just fake. So
we forgot the last big one before we move on. The Hulk shows up in the end.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And he's like, "I got my son here, Scar."
Yeah.
And, that looked weird.
It was. He looked like a weird kid.
Well, I mean, he's like so I'm curious. I do like them when she's talking to Kevin and she's like, we'll have Hulk explain. She's like, no, let him say that for his movie.
Yeah, right.
I thought that was great. They're acknowledging. Yeah. Maybe that is going to be the movie, or maybe that's half the movie and the other half him back on Earth. That could be kind of, like the whole movie's not on Scar. I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's see if we ever get a Hulk movie because there's still like weird legal shit.
Right.
That like Universal technically still owns the rights to movies. But it was like a weird loophole. They were able to we'll just have the Hulk star.
Right. Guessed in.
So the Hulk's been a weird character in the Marvel universe because he's been they've been trying to tell his story, but they've been having to do it through other people's other characters' movies or Avengers. All right. Yeah. Well, on that note, I'm Rob Israel, and
right. Well, we don't actually have a ton of politics stuff, but we got a little bit.
What?
We got a little politics stuff.
Oh my god!
Right?
Talk about 18 shows, movies.
Well, there are some big things in the political current events world, but there really aren't a ton. And some of them are kind of like overview quality items.
Okay. So, real quick, we got January 6th hearing, the debates, the midterm debates, the extensive attacks that the mainstream media and Fox News are doing on John Fetterman, the shit coming out about DeSantis in Florida, Alex Jones, which was really funny. Good Schadenfreude, and Kanye West, which is not funny at all and horrible. Okay, let's talk. Speaking of not funny and horrible as well, January 6th hearings. So
did you listen to the hearings today?
I only watched a little bit.
Okay.
I didn't watch the whole thing. I did watch the Boebert debate.
Yeah. I'm
I
okay. I did the opposite. I kind of listened to the whole hearings and I only watched a little bit of the Boebert debate.
So the big thing is they basically voted to subpoena Trump.
Yes, and they did. They issued a subpoena for Trump, I believe.
But this is the last hearings before the election.
Yes.
Now, in theory, they could still do these hearings after the election. There's no reason why they can't.
Oh, they could do it up until the new Congress is seated.
I don't know why they wouldn't do this. Like, why not do another one?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand. They should have been doing this all summer.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
Like one episode.
Yeah. This I found this hearing to be disappointing. They presented another good case against Trump. They came up with some good evidence that he knew he lost.
Oh yeah, I saw a lot of that.
Yeah.
Him like, don't you have like telling Georgia, don't you have like 11,000 votes you can find me?
Yeah. So
like, that's not how voting works, asshole.
It did its trick that way. I just think, and this, look, I'm not saying that we should not have these hearings. I think we should.
I think we definitely should.
But so many opinions are just sort of solidified about Trump that, unless you're going to prosecute, unless you're doing this specifically to issue arrests or reviews.
Any normal country, this guy'd be in jail.
Yeah.
Or he'd be forced to flee the country.
Right.
He'd be in a different country right now. He'd be forced out of here. It is absolutely ridiculous. This man gets to still go around and throw gasoline on the fire, do these rallies, these Nazi rallies where he just says all kinds of insane shit. And this guy's talking about election integrity. And there's literally footage and audio of him talking about like stealing your vote, telling the guy in Georgia, it's literally audio of that saying, don't you have like, you don't have like 11,000 votes? That's all I need. Like, find for me. I mean, like, this guy's telling you the whole time he's going to go after.
It's all right there. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's, it's like that guy in Andor saying he has a brother. No, this is worse, actually. That guy, I would rather that guy be president.
Yeah.
It's insane. And then the whole, like, didn't it come out too that basically Pelosi was the one who ordered the guards in because Trump was like MIA?
Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah.
Like Nancy Pelosi basically had to be the acting president that day because it was just getting to the point where it was like, and Trump was fully aware. There's footage of him watching the TV. He knew exactly what was going on. And I knew what was going on because they fucking planned it.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
There's just so much evidence,
It just shows you how insanely political everything is. That up is down, down is up. Like there's no reality. This is a crime. There's no this was a literal crime. He tried to steal your vote. He refused to leave. He got people killed. It's so disgusting. And you see like Ashley Babbitt's mom the other day, like her. And it's like, dude, you're a fucking psychopath. Your fucking daughter was killed because of Trump.
Yep.
You're still on. Like, no wonder why her brain was rotten. Because your brain's rotten. It's like clearly like mother like daughter. I don't know what other things came out on it though. What was the other, did they show Thomas at all? Like
no, not that I saw or heard. It was a lot of footage of like what the senators were doing at the time and how they couldn't get the National Guard to mobilize because someone up in Trump's administration has blocked that from happening. There's a lot of good evidence, but nothing like that I would say is a knockout punch.
And this is again another, like January 6th again proved another argument of why DC should be a state.
Yeah, for sure.
Then the mayor of DC wouldn't be able to call in troops.
Yep.
And that would have been dissolved hours ago. Way, like in the beginning, it would have been dissolved.
Yeah. Wow.
It's like so funny when people are like scared. Like January 6th only happened because Trump was president. January 6th is not going to happen under Biden. January 6th is not going to happen under anyone unless they're the ones in power and they're trying to steal the election. Because they're the ones that order the troops to stay back while they let their morons go through.
Yeah. I think politically this hearing would have worked better much earlier in the summer, but I'm glad it's there now.
Like they should have had one. They should never have taken a break. They should have been one like fucking week.
Yeah.
Until now, like if they was the last one, there should have been like 4 more before that or something. Even if it was like every 2 weeks, who cares? Constantly in the. This seems kind of like a last minute thing. It feels like, and like, yeah, we're gonna subpoena Trump seems like it seems kind of anticlimactic because if the Democrats retain the House, it
doesn't matter. Yeah,
that's not gonna happen anyway. What's he gonna do? You think he's gonna show up?
I don't know.
No.
Yeah.
So funny. Everyone like praised Hillary Clinton for showing up at the Benghazi thing.
Yeah.
You should have been like, fuck you. I'm not gonna show up to this. Trey Garrity's a dork. Like, you think I'm gonna show up to this bullshit?
Right. Yeah.
Like, no, I'm not. Again, I think just bad advice. Like, yeah, you'll show them like how serious you are and you take it seriously. These are not serious people. Why would you show up? So, like, that's not one thing where Trump's smart, because it also shows you how there's not really that many rules because she didn't have to show up. He doesn't show up and no one cares. No one's like, they just expect that. They're like, yeah, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
So I mean, you listen to these things. It was absolutely horrible. This was mostly, it seems like what this was today, though, wasn't mostly about January 6th, but mostly leading up to January 6th. There was a lot of like,
there was the month before.
Here's the footage of like Steve Bannon basically laughing about like Trump's plans.
And Roger Stone, yeah.
Yeah. Bannon's like bragging, like, yeah, Trump's gonna go on TV that night and just basically claim he's the winner. And he did do that. I mean, he tried to. He looked like really stupid. I remember there was like a press conference or something, and he went up there and he was like, I won. And like, no, you didn't, dude. You didn't win. We're not even close to counting here. Like, there's still like 5 or 6 states that weren't even done yet.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I just think it's kind of ultimately a lost opportunity, although I am very glad that they did it.
Yeah, I just think, again, it could be good, though. It's like, hey, if you want to see Trump get any kind of justice at all, like, you got to make sure we retain the House because, I mean, the Republicans have all kinds of crazy ideas what they plan on doing if they retain the House. I mean, Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene bring that all the time. They're like, we're going to, like, investigate Pfizer and vaccines. We're going to investigate the January 6th people.
Well,
what?
And we don't have to jump to this topic right now, but the next topic is like the best evidence for everything you're saying. If you've watched a Boebert debate or a JD Vance debate or a Tudor Dixon debate or Carrie Lake, if you watch any of these debates, it is really going to be shocking if the Republicans win and then what they start doing. It's going to be.
They're literally telling you what they plan on doing.
Oh, yeah.
There's no like subtlety. If anything, they're not telling you enough. They probably have most things planned. They're going to do hearings on Hunter Biden. They're going to impeach Biden. They're going to do all kinds of dumb shit. They're not going to do anything that actually represents the people. They're not going to do anything like make healthcare better or bring down insulin prices. They're not going to do any of that. It's going to be bullshit investigation. It's going to make the whole thing into a joke. And it's going to delegitimize everything.
Well, that's their whole shtick, is to like delegitimize government, to make it look like it doesn't work or that it's out to get you. Or
I mean, I remember even like after Katrina, the one thing that George W. Bush said a lot was your federal government failed you.
Yeah.
Well, you failed us. Like, federal government didn't, but he wanted to make sure you're aware. Like, no, federal government doesn't work. Like, he would make it political and be like, because they don't want it to work. And when you say, yeah, man, you're doing a terrible job, he's like, I know. That's because that's what we want to do.
Right. Yeah.
We don't want it to work. You keep voting for people who don't want the federal government to work, and then you get upset when it doesn't work. What did you expect?
Yeah.
You keep voting in people who have no intention on making the federal government work correctly. Now, they'll still spend federal dollars and money, but it's not going to be anything that's going to benefit you. Okay, so I mean, what besides that, I mean, what other big things came out of January 6th then? It was just
That was it. I thought it was a pretty low key day. I mean, Trump getting subpoenaed is huge. The notion that Trump kind of admitted that he lost and had been planning this insurrection for a long time.
yep.
Those are the big takeaways for me, you know?
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't like earth shattering. I guess the thing that when talking about it that I keep coming back to, or that I would want to communicate, is that it slid right by. I mean, it should have been a much more consequential thing, I think, earlier in the year. And it just slid by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It stinks because it's like that Trump getting subpoenaed then should be like a
It should be
headline.
big news. Yeah.
It should be. I don't know what the big news is. I don't know. All right. So, well, speaking of, I mean, so there was different debates. We can just talk about the Boebert one real quick.
Yeah.
I watched that today. I guess there was yesterday. There was like a League of Women Voters. It was like online. I don't know why, because she's never in Colorado, or it was always supposed to be online. I don't know. It was like a Zoom call, basically debate. And I mean, what was your takeaway from it? You listened to it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I did not listen to it entirely. My big takeaway, and this is kind of a weird one, is I thought the moderators did a great job.
Yeah,
I wish
there were no bullshit.
Yeah, and I know that one of the that Frisch, the Democrat, uh, referred to the moderator as Dr. So and so. So I'm guessing she's a political scientist, or she works for some university in Colorado. So I thought that was really good, and it just seemed like, and I've seen this in a bunch of debates where the Democrat tries to answer the question legitimately, and the Republican just pivots to, well, I don't know why my opponent wants, boys to be girls, or
Yeah.
I don't know why my opponent hates America so much. I mean, it's just like this bizarre nonsense word vomit.
Well, I like what Adam Frisch is basically bringing up, that like, you want representation. You don't really have it. Boebert's
Yeah.
never there. Her job, she really does not. She was trying to make all these claims of what she does, but the facts are there, and it's like she's never there. She's busy making her brand. She's
Yeah.
busy, going to like religious events, right wing religious events, TPUSA, and all this bullshit. Like, she's hardly ever in Colorado. She's campaigning in Florida. She's in South Carolina. She's in Texas.
Yeah.
And it's like,
well, what else is she going to do? They don't let her sit on committees. They don't.
She's on some committees.
Oh, that's right. Marjorie Green's one.
Green.
Yeah.
But I like that, Adam Frisch, everyone knows Marjorie Taylor Greene's a fucking lunatic. That isn't a lunatic. And he kept on tying it to her. Boebert kept on trying to bring in Pelosi. I like that he kept on saying, like, I am not Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah.
He basically, listen, I don't care. This guy has to claim. She's trying to lie. Like, she's getting all pissed, and she's trying to say, like, he's a liar. He's a evil liberal. He's not this. He's not any claims. Honestly, I don't even care if he's a bag sandwich. I want like, she's awful. There's she's one of literally one of the worst Congress people. She literally brings down everything. She's terrible. You see her like say these horrible things in Congress. She says like these absolutely racist, accusatory things about like Elon Omar, Sawell, I think his name is. Real racist shit. I mean, she's just a disgusting human being. She doesn't do anything for her state, really. She's really just about expanding her brand as a right-wing grifter. So I'd say, you know what? Let's make it a job easier for her and kick her out, because I think Colorado has proven to be more progressive. Now, I understand that red area, but like, I think the thing is, and I think what he's doing a good job is explaining, is that like, she's not doing her job. Like, and I think he's been really good at like just pointing that out. Like, she's not working with you. She's not bringing the money in that she should be doing. You have if she stays in power, you have no representation, or no true representation.
Well, yeah. I think the future will be real interesting for this committee, you know, the future, like if it gets disbanded, or if it, it'll be weird about there being, I don't know. Lauren Boebert's no good for Colorado. She's no good for anyone. And if the Congress changes over and Lauren Boebert is a part of it, it's just going to be a disaster.
Well, there will be no committee for January 6th, but they'll be investigating is the January 6th committee.
Right. That's what I'm going to. It will turn over and be a new thing with people like Lauren Boebert in charge.
To deny the Ukraine any funding. Mm-hmm. They're going to do that.
You'll quick, have.
We didn't have that on the list, but the Ukraine. There's been some events that happened recently.
Yeah.
Actually, real quick. So I guess the Ukraine, there was some bombing on a bridge.
Yeah, they blew up a bridge.
Military supply line between Russia and Crimea, and all these chuds on Twitter were like, "This is a terrorist attack." I'm like, no, this is they're the invader, and it was a tactical military move.
Right.
But then Russia literally bombed
bad Kiev,
in the Ukraine, actual civilian areas, and they're all those chuds were kind of quiet about that, or they try to it's really disgusting how many there's so many weird Russia defenders.
Yeah, I don't understand it, but there are a lot of them, and they're generally right wing.
There's a lot of fake leftists too.
Yeah, oh yeah, but they're ultimately right wing. They're right wing talking points.
Yeah, no, they are, and it's a very bizarre. And again, the main argument, Mark Ruffalo, speaking of the Hulk, he actually tweeted something about the Ukraine, and he said, "This is the argument of the Ukraine. If you're trying to come up with a peace thing, the move is Russia leaves. That's it.
Yeah,
that's the negotiation.
That's it. Yeah,
Russia goes away because Russia is the invader." And it's funny, I saw some these chuds trying to link the Iraq war, what's going on with Russia and Ukraine. And they were like, "Oh, you were okay with this," or something like that. I'm like, "No, we weren't. I attended one of the biggest war protests in this country ever. I was at one of those in New York. They were all over the world. We were adamantly against it. And the reason why we were against it is because that was an invasion on Iraq by the Bush administration, just like the Ukraine is being invaded by Russia.
Real similar dynamic, yeah.
Similar dynamic. If you were against the Iraq war, you're probably against the Russia invading Ukraine. It's that simple.
Yeah.
You can't just come out and say that Russia has no business in invading the Ukraine. Then I don't know. There's there's something that's a little bit of a red flag.
Yeah.
And that was actually, I think, mentioned in the JD Vance debate.
Yeah, he did talk about how JD Vance is basically supporting Putin.
Yeah. Okay, so that debate, we'll talk about that one. I thought that was a good debate. I thought Tim Ryan did fine. But again, I think this is one of those debates where the moderators would let JD Vance say whatever horrible, ridiculous, outlandish thing about Tim Ryan, and Tim Ryan was given no opportunity to retort or hey, can I, this guy just claim that I'm, want to eat babies or something, you didn't let,
sure.
I noticed that. It felt like they didn't give a chance to come back. I will say Tim Ryan, he's running as Democrat in Ohio. Gives off Tim, the other, what's his name from, I think you should leave.
Hyde.
No.
Yeah, I want to say Heidecker, but it's not that.
Eric. Hold on. I'll look it up.
Yeah. Tim O'Brien? No. What is his name?
I'm looking it up.
All right.
Hold on. My fat fingers are making the text on my phone. I think Tim Robinson.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'm waiting for Tim Ryan to be like, and Rick shit. Coffin flop. Fucking JD Vance flop. Dude, that guy sucks, man.
He's bad. Yeah, he's real bad.
He's just, and it's not that. There's nothing there. He's a soulless ghoul.
Yeah.
And he's making claims about his grandma and all that. It's all bullshit.
Yeah, I don't believe any of it.
Yeah, he's a liar. I think Tim Ryan's listen, he's trying to do his job of like, it's weird. It's like, I hate that he has to like play this kind of conservative. Someone was like,
Yeah.
oh, what? He'll just be the next Joe Manchin. I'm like, you know what? Be better than JD Vance.
Yeah.
Because it's not just like, okay, it's not like we're not just voting against a Republican here.
Right.
We're voting against a person who thinks Trump won the election in 2020.
Yeah. Someone who has some really bizarre views over what has happened in the last few years.
Yeah. Is like basically a automaton that does everything Steele wants. This isn't just some regular dude. This isn't just there's a political difference. JD Vance is an actual danger, is like an actual terrible like candidate. Like
yeah, across the board he is.
Yeah. And I do like though when Tim Ryan brought up the whole thing about him having no balls, basically.
Yeah.
Like how Trump like said that he has to kiss his ass, and he's like, yeah,
and he did, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, this guy has no self-respect. Like, you think this guy's gonna be a good senator for Ohio if he has no like I don't know. What other takeaways did you have from that?
I don't know if I had any other takeaways per se. Geez, it's gonna be a rough month, you know.
No, I mean the debate though.
Oh, the debate. Yeah, I don't know if like I said, I don't know if I have any takeaways per se. I know that Tim Ryan looked great and JD Vance just looks terrible. That's not like a super deep analysis.
It's a deep analysis.
Well, I'm just saying, like a lot of these debates are just ugly. You know, the debates are ugly because the Democrat shows up to deliver a few points, and I don't know. It just, they don't seem.
Like I said, my issue with these debates is just that like JD Vance said some really like ridiculous things in regard to like Tim Ryan, and the moderators just kind of like move on to the next question. Don't let him. I didn't, and I think JD Vance also got the closing word. I don't think that's ever good. Like the closing word, you want your opponent, you want your candidate to get the closing word. You just do. And him getting it is like, to me, like a bad sign. I didn't like you know, they asked him about January 6th and he tried to give some bullshit answer.
Yeah, they always do.
What?
They always do. You know,
I forgot what he said. It was some bullshit. And then he said something about like, you know, that he wouldn't even acknowledge that Trump, like Tim Ryan pulled out and said, like, you won't accept the 2020 election. Like you said Trump was the winner, and he tried to like come up with some bullshit. All right. So what else was there? What other debates were there? I mean,
well, tonight was Gretchen Whitmer and Tudor Dixon, and Whitmer should crush Tudor Dixon.
What?
Whitmer should crush Tudor Dixon.
I would hope so, right?
Yeah, I mean that woman's Tudor Dixon is not well equipped, so I don't know. We've seen a lot of these debates where if they're willing to debate,
well, there's the Herschel Walker one supposedly tomorrow. That one I wish we got to see, because I feel like, this is what's going to happen. This is my prediction if this debate even happens, and this is how you're going to see. This is what they do all the time to the mainstream media does to Democratic candidates all the time. Herschel Walker is a fucking idiot.
He's dumb.
He's just dumb. He's dumb. He's like the definition of dumb. He's a dumb jock. His brain isn't there. Like, he doesn't know it. He's way in over his head. He should not be running for Senate. It's a fucking insult that he's running for Senate. It's like anyone, like, and you have a better candidate, Warnock. And what's going to happen is they're going to say some bullshit. I'll do the Chris Matthews. He came up to professorial. You know, like, you know, Herschel Walker, he's a man of the people, you know, that's speaking our language. And, you know, I can see like the bullshit. Like, so it's almost like a tough line that Warnock has to run, because it's like if he comes off, like if he laughs at him or anyway, or like they'll be like, oh, look at him, he's looking down on him. Like he's an elitist. Herschel Walker is a American
man of the people.
Man of the people, he's a real man of the people. Get the fuck out of here. I mean, they'll do that bullshit. You know it. You know it.
So,
they'll do that, and they'll like, or they'll say like, Warnock is like disrespecting Herschel Walker, or Herschel Walker
Yeah.
injuries, or they'll say whatever, and we're supposed to feel sorry for him. But then, like on another example, was
Yep.
John Peterson, who recently had a stroke and is recovering well from it, who they're doing hit pieces on him. The NBC did a absolutely disgusting hit piece on him where it was like a total ableist like
Yeah.
interview.
It was real weird. This is the one you're talking about where they basically said,
Dasha Barnes, or whatever, from
yeah, he shouldn't be working in ice cream shop because he has memory issues or something. It was just like a bizarre
they kept
non
on like
sequitur from
trying
her.
to downplay. They were trying to like make it out to be that this man's brain doesn't work
Yep.
because he needs a visual aid for, I guess,
Captions.
captions, and it's like, why is that a big fucking deal?
Well, why even mention it? You know, I mean, like,
Well, they mention it because they are going after him.
yeah, well, yeah.
So the right wing media, and even so-called liberal media, there is no liberal media, is going after him using stories about crime, and that he's responsible for so much crime in Pennsylvania, especially in Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. I don't know why those specific locations, but
yeah,
and,
right.
I'm kidding, of course.
Yeah.
But you know why?
Well, I think, yeah, I don't. Fetterman was running away with this, and then as of late, Oz is pulled closer.
And it's disgusting because, like, imagine if Fetterman killed 300 dogs.
Jeez. Yeah.
If he killed one dog,
right.
If he didn't even kill a dog, he left the dog outside in the cold ones.
It's tough. I mean,
Dr. Oz should be done. Like,
yeah.
Dogs, doesn't even matter what the context is. They should be talking about him like,
what is he going to do next? Yeah.
Like he lost. This should not even be a fucking contest. And what's scary is that if the media is in line with Dr. Oz, then that means they're also in line with Mastriano. Mastriano is a literal domestic terrorist who attended the January 6th.
Yeah.
His job will be to make sure that, like, if he's governor, he basically said he will hand Pennsylvania to Trump if Trump runs in 2024.
Yeah.
He said that many times.
Yeah, I remember hearing that.
And if you're pushing Dr. Oz, and that means you're also pushing Mastriano, because most people usually just vote down ballot. That's just the way it is usually. And this attack on Fetterman is targeted. And again,
the timing is really suspect too. You know,
that NBC interview is so disgusting, and it's like, it's. I mean, listen, this is not the right wing will try to sell you some bullshit and say NBC's liberal. It's not. Jack Welch, they invented fucking like what do you call it? Outsourcing of like anti-union as fuck. Like, who are you kidding?
Yeah, I don't know. It is kind of depressing. I still think Fetterman wins. You know,
I think so too, but it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be this close. It should be a washout. Dr. Oz is a joke. He's a terrible candidate. He's not like. Come on, like this is the same bullshit where like the right wing will put. Dr. Oz is literally, and I said this before in this podcast. Dr. Oz is literally what the right was trying to tell you John Kerry was.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Dr. Oz is the liberal elite. He's not. He doesn't even know what the fuck is in Pennsylvania. Yeah. He doesn't even live there. It's insane. I know, like, I think like that's like you gotta attack him on other things. The whole joke of him being
yeah.
I mean, it works, and you should keep doing it, but there's gotta be other reasons. I think him, again, killing 300 dogs is I don't even care what the context is. That should be the end of a campaign.
It should be.
Like, it should be. But I don't know.
Well, we got another kind of dual scandal down in Florida. What do you want to talk about? DeSantis getting investigated first, or the voting stuff?
I mean, they're both kind of the same. I mean,
yeah,
right. I mean, you tell me.
Well, okay, so the two stories kind of emerged.
The Florida man here.
Yeah, right. Two stories emerged out of Florida. One is that Ron DeSantis is in trouble He's being investigated federally. And it's kind of a unique thing. Ron DeSantis probably could have gotten away with this really easily if he had pulled immigrants out of Florida and sent them somewhere else. But he didn't do that. He spent money shipping immigrants from Texas to Massachusetts. All right. And the thing is, he got this money because this is money that was the interest accrued off of PPP funds he got for the state.
Yeah. And of course, this is the guy who tried to deny the existence of COVID the entire time. He tried to use that. I mean, he literally put out ad campaigns saying like Florida is as great as it did because when the government shut down, Ron DeSantis defied the federal government. And the joke is, no, he didn't. He was taking this money and everything and using it for fucking kidnapping innocent people. And
well, I don't know. The point of it is all that money was earmarked for use in Florida, and he spent it in a way that had nothing to do with Florida.
Yeah.
That was kind of a weird thing. If he had just trafficked immigrants to Florida, he probably would have been fine, but he didn't do that. So
I know it's like I mean, people go to jail for like misuse of campaign funds.
Right. Yeah. I don't think this would be a criminal thing. I don't know that, but if him getting investigated would be a good thing. You know. So because this seems like there's probably a lot of different little laws
I will
broken.
say that from what it seems like, the wind has been knocked out of his sail especially as a 2024 candidate. I feel like there's these really embarrassing images of him over the past couple of months, especially after Hurricane Ian. The photo of him wearing those boots are ridiculous. He looks like a fucking idiot. And then the photo of him with Biden is like such a huge tell.
Yeah.
Biden is warm and embracing, and DeSantis just in the front with his head down.
It's like all angry and pissed off.
Yeah, sulking. Yeah. Looking miserable. That's a great story. And then there's another great image too of them at a table together. And it's down too, and Biden's kind of like just talking, and it's like I made an image that says, "Your name is Reek. My name."
Yeah, I saw that. Well, yeah, I think so. I think another thing that's kind of an interesting side note is I came from Lee County, Florida. That's where I lived last. Lee County, Florida, they did the math. It's the fifth most conservative district in the United States.
Yeesh.
Yeah. So that's where I lived. It was like
Lee County, like off of Robert E. Lee?
Yeah, it's named after Robert E. Lee. It's it's
I guess.
So and Lee, where I came from, is a lot more conservative than where I live now in Texas. And if you can believe that.
I know.
So Florida, a few months ago, set up all these crazy voting restrictions. You had to vote in the precinct in which you were registered. You had to, you really clamped down on mail-in ballots. They clamped very much down on ballot boxes and stuff like that. They shortened the window. And the problem is that the last hurricane destroyed the most reliably Republican votes, period. Like, if you looked at a map of where the hurricane went, it was all like red districts. So now Ron DeSantis is trying to figure out how he can break the voting rules he set up so his constituents can vote. And that'll be kind of interesting to watch.
I can't believe that another right-wing politician is also a fucking hypocrite.
Yeah, well, blue counties in Florida didn't really get hit by the hurricane. Red counties did. And a lot of those people are going to have to move, and they're not going to have time to register to vote. A lot of those people, like the entire city of Cape Coral, is basically uninhabitable.
I would say Ron DeSantis lost because of this. It's just another example of reality getting in the way of right bullshit. Like the right wing wants to push all this nonsense that has, at least the right wing today. They want to push all this like bullshit about cancel culture, attacking trans people, fucking with education,
ERT, all of that.
Yeah, women's sports, like all kinds of
Yep.
bullshit. It doesn't really affect anyone. And then something like a hurricane comes along, a powerful one, fucks everything up, and then
Mhm.
you know these people get exposed because it's like they drain the coffers of like of where you know money should spent usually for like emergencies.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, another thing, Charlie Crist is running ads now that say you're probably filing a homeowner's claim right now, aren't you? What's your coverage like? You know, when Charlie Crist was governor, he drove property insurances down like 20%. He really successfully fought against these big insurance companies and he won. Ron DeSantis was too busy fighting Mickey Mouse.
yeah.
And so a
And
lot of
the joke is by fighting Mickey Mouse, he actually raised Florida
yeah,
tax because Florida he removed the thing and the Disney's like okay.
well, a lot of people are filing insurance claims now and they think they're covered, but their deductible is like $15,000 and
Yep,
all sorts of shit's not covered.
yep.
And they're, they've lost $300,000-400,000 worth of stuff and they're going to get a check in the mail for like 20 grand. That's really going to start to resonate with people.
Yeah.
So Florida may get interesting. There are, not to use a tacky symbol, but like there may be stormy weather coming there. So we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. I hope so. I really hope Chris beats DeSantis. DeSantis, like we've said, is probably the worst governor out there.
Yeah, I mean, Abbott's pretty bad.
Abbott's very bad.
But I think DeSantis is like just like another level of
Yep.
shit. I
Yeah.
think like he represents. It's fucking. I see his wife's tweets, man. She sounds
She's terrible.
like those fucking like teal dresses from Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah, Serena.
Yeah, she's gross. Yeah, it was really funny. Like there was another photo, and it was a photo of her like standing, and her arms looked weird. And someone had this amazing tweet. They're like, "Do these motherfuckers just get arms or something?"
Yeah, right.
Like DeSantis
Someone said they were wearing bulletproof vests, but I don't know. I don't see it. She didn't look like she was wearing a vest. She just
it's
looked
like
like
how their posture, they carry this. Like, are you? Did you just get arms today or something?
Yeah.
Like you had arms.
Weirdos.
Like what to do with these things? Yeah, but again, I think the wind has been. I mean, not to say that he's not a threat anymore, because I mean, if he wins, he loses his election, he's done. He's just done.
Yeah, that's it for him.
He could run as a president. He could run for president and let him. He'll go from like top tier candidate to bottom tier in a minute.
Yeah.
Like no one will take him seriously. They'll say you lost your fucking state. Like,
right.
Like you lost a red state, basically. I mean, that's kind of what Florida is.
Yeah.
It's proven to be. I don't think it's a battleground state anymore. I think it's
a red state. It's like Ohio. Ohio's not
a wins in Ohio. It's a red state. That's it. Democrats need to like focus on like Georgia and like
Arizona
and make sure to Arizona. Make sure to like consolidate the other Rust Belt states.
Well, shore up places like
North Carolina. Fuck, work on Texas. You probably have a better chance in Texas if like
or try getting Virginia back.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's not a bad idea to play.
I bet the Dems will get it back in
I do too. But play some defense in places where you might not think you need to, like Oregon and New Mexico and Nevada and even Colorado. Like
all it takes is one hand up the wheel and there's an upset.
Any progressive
upset. We all thought that it was a joke and that Hillary was going to win.
Yeah.
So. I mean, he didn't really win. He won by like math when it comes to electoral college. I mean, that's like the sad part when you look at the electoral college victories, and you realize that Biden didn't win by much more.
No.
Because of the states that he had to win versus what the states Trump had to win. And you're like, fuck, Biden had to get 8 million more votes to be president, and Trump had to lose by 3 million votes.
That's crazy.
That's normal. That's not how a democracy should work. Like, listen, I get it. California votes. That's probably it. Like, whoever wins, but sorry.
Yeah.
maybe you need to like offer better things. That's like the funny thing. Like when the right wing was getting really upset about Biden, like with the student loans, or Biden,
Right.
like, I'm gonna like reduce charges for people who had like small amount of pot on them. Like
Yeah.
we're gonna like decriminalize this stuff. And the right wing's like, you can't do that. And it's like, wow, who would have thought like having a net benefit would get people to want to vote for you?
Yeah.
Like, that's how it works. What do you mean
Yeah.
you can't do that? Wait, like if anything, that should expose the Republicans for what they are. Vote for us. We're going to give you nothing. If
Yeah.
anything, you're probably going to lose stuff.
We'll cut your Social Security.
Yeah, I mean, we've already the boomers did it with Reagan.
Yeah, sadly,
They took away. They basically lost. They lost their kids' pension that day. Reagan won. Most of their children's weren't going to have pensions like they did. College just increased 4 times in price. Cost of living just increased. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
That's we're still paying for that. And that's why it's funny when Biden comes in with just these like small gestures, like we're going to reduce.
Yeah, and they seem earth shaking.
Yeah,
but they're the most basic of things.
You're not supposed to do that. What do you mean? Like, if anything, I should be doing more.
Yeah,
that's cheating. How's it cheating? It's my job. I'm literally doing my job right. Don't save the patient's life. They'll come back and with other problems.
Yeah, right. They need to pull themselves up by their bootstraps.
Yeah, if you save their life, like a year or two, they're going to come back with some other problem.
Yeah. Well, I guess this would be a good transition to our last item. Well, yeah, I was going to lump them together. We can talk one than the next. Alex Jones and Kanye West were our last 2 items.
All right. Well, Alex Jones, we'll talk about him first.
Yeah.
Alex Jones, we know there's been experiencing. It's been a lot of trials that have been going. This is not. It's insane how long this took.
Oh, but, yeah.
It also shows you how much shit he did. So obviously, Sandy Hook happened, and he said it didn't, and he made millions of dollars off of it.
Yeah.
And with all the bullshit lies vehement lies and bullshit that he spread about the parents of these murdered children.
Yeah.
Had endangered these people's lives. People had to move multiple times. One parent killed themselves because of this. I mean, imagine like it's like hell on earth. You
can't. I mean, you can't even imagine.
At work or whatever, and you're thinking about picking your kid up from school, and you find out your child was blown away by an AR-15 by some nut job in the school of all places too, like a kindergarten or whatever. You're like, it's not supposed to happen.
These were like 6-7-year-olds.
Yeah, they were babies. They were literal babies, and then okay, so you're already experiencing that. And then on top of that, you have this fucking disgusting pig monster.
Yeah.
Getting with a huge platform, spreading lies every fucking day, videos going viral, saying that your kid didn't die actually.
Right. You never had a kid. You're faking.
You're a crisis actor, actually. And you're just like, what the fuck? So it's like double, it's like somebody threw like, it's like not salt on the wound, but like acid on the wound. I mean, like lit you on fire, you know? Like what he did was so disgusting. And the thing is that so basically there was a case in Texas where he supposedly has to pay like $50 million. We'll see what he actually pays from that.
Yeah, because they cap them. Like the jury can award $50 million, but it might be that only like $500,000 is collectible.
Okay, but what about in Connecticut? How's it work?
No, Connecticut, you get all that money.
So there were 7. The one in Texas was 3 families, I think. Yeah. The one in Connecticut was 17 families.
Yeah, and they got a lot of money.
It was close to $1 billion.
It's crazy, yeah.
Literally, it's like I remember the first time it came out, it was like 229 million. I was like, holy shit, this is like, I figured it would just be like 50 million here.
Yeah.
And then so the numbers again, and it was like $975 million.
Yeah.
And I think in the end, it ended up being over $1 billion. And he was like live streaming because he guess he wasn't there, and he was just like laughing about it, like, yeah, you get 50 million, you get 50 million. He's like gloating. And this motherfucker was like there denying Sandy Hook still. And like this guy's not apologetic. He's a fucking disgusting piece of shit. And the thing is that he made not just did he lie about this, but he made millions of dollars while hundreds of millions of dollars while
Oh
doing it.
yeah.
He was able to take InfoWars from some bullshit thing that around by potheads and people that thought conspiracies were funny, and he turned it into a huge media machine that helped get Trump elected.
Yeah.
And other lies too. Pizzagate, he pushed that. It all
vaccines.
Yep. Sandy Hook was, I mean, this guy was pushing like 9/11 conspiracies, all the, more classic conspiracies, the ones that like, of course, Rothschild's real anti-Semitic shit. He's a huge anti-Semite. He was pushing, but the Sandy Hook thing was like a whole nother level. And like I said, this guy made, like, they call it InfoWars. They really should just call it infomercial because that's
really a lot of like doomsday prepper stuff.
Yeah, it's all like, he'll tell you a story about how your water is contaminated, and then he'll immediately be like, and that's why you need to buy these water clarifying pills or
iodine tablets.
The food supplies are breaking down, the supply chain's breaking down. I remember this back in December. They're like supply. I don't know if you remember this last year. Like,
this is ringing a bell vaguely.
TikToks were pushing like supply chain issues, issues, and I'm like, I mean, there might have been some hiccups here and there, but nothing like ever like what it was when COVID hit and like stores looked like doomsday happened.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it was fucking scary. Like, I guess we'll all eat that weird pasta no one wants. We'll deal with it. We'll have to deal.
Farfalla.
That's a fine. I mean, this fucking guy, like, so anyone who's there's like all these creeps online and disingenuous scumbags who are like, who are saying like his freedom of speech. I'm like, this has never been about freedom of speech. And first of all, okay, freedom of speech is not freedom from consequences.
Yeah.
If you come up to me and you say all these horrible things about me and my family, and I fucking punch you in the skull, in the nose, and your fucking bone into your nose, and you die. Well, I mean, I might go to jail for that, but guess what? You still like
everyone worried about Alex Jones's freedom of speech. It was also like telling Kyle Rittenhouse he should sue anyone who reported on the incident.
Right. Yeah, that was like the huge these people are liars. They're anti-free speech, first of all. But first of all, too, this isn't a freedom of speech argument, and this is what they after him for, was he was making, not just was he spreading horrible lies, and he was endangering these people's lives with all his nut jobs that he has watching him, because I imagine mental psychosis and InfoWars viewers has a kind of blend together.
Yeah, there's a
nice puree of psychotic. He was making millions of dollars while doing it.
Yeah, I mean, like if I'm sure some Alex Jones fans own restaurants, and I'm sure they wouldn't feel good about the neighboring restaurant standing in front of their restaurant saying that there were rats inside. This isn't a freedom of speech issue.
I mean, like, so let me see if I can find this tweet. You see MIA?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
She's always been real weird. I don't know.
She's always been an anti-vaxxer. That is, I've known that for like a decade.
Well, and she was really involved, or her dad was a leader of the Tamil Tigers, which is was a pretty I want to say they were a pretty violent group in Sri Lanka. I mean, she has like a history of like, I don't know, taking pretty extreme positions. Like I've kind of gotten over
like a rich kid, and she's fucking married to like a billionaire, supposedly.
Well, this is all going to dovetail into the Kanye stuff too, but it gets so confusing. There are very few artists out there who are like squeaky clean. It's like the big one, like Morrissey, was this, engaging in really racist behavior, but like he still had great songs,
Who
and you
cares?
wonder. Well, it's like the same, like Megadeth is another one that
Yeah,
people
who
were talking.
cares? I'm going to see them live tomorrow. You know why though?
Hmm.
Because my son likes them.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I've kind of become exhausted with like trying to figure out, like,
I mean, listen, I don't want to get into that yet. I don't want to talk about
yeah,
this. I want to talk about Jones. She wrote MIA. Wait, where did she write? I hate the Twitter. Come on. Oh, well, she said some bullshit about like Alex Jones, but none of the people who pushed the vaccine were investigated.
yeah, right,
You you made the worst tweet of the day. Good job. Like
yeah,
that's the
she's
most idiotic thing. Like she's an anti-vaxxer, whatever. And then she wrote, I might be the first canceled Twitter user back in 2010 for saying connected to the Google, connected to the government.
yeah.
And I got different kinds of receipts. And I wrote, keep defending Alex Jones and have fun in your new career as a right-wing grifter.
Yeah, some people, I think there's like a difference between, like, I don't know, that MIA stuff is just crazy.
Again, so Alex Jones, I will hopefully. I mean, they're done. Infowars is done. If he owes $1 billion,
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know. He's probably worth. Who knows how much that guy's fucking worth? But I said, who's gonna be the first scumbag that has him on? And it was Steven Crowder.
yeah,
Steven
it
Crowder
makes perfect sense.
I mean, like, so I'm sorry. At this point, if you have him on, you embrace him, then you also too are okay with saying that a bunch of children are murdered.
Yeah,
You if you have him on and you don't and you're friendly with him and embracing him, like if you have him on and you call him like a vile piece of shit, that's a different story.
sure.
Like if you actually confront him and maybe be a little more intellectual about it instead of just being like, you
Yeah.
look like if a frog was or something, I don't know.
Gay frogs.
What?
Gay frogs. Gay
Yeah,
frogs.
frogs are good. Like, but if you're just having him on like Crowder does, and you're just like having a laugh,
Yeah.
then nah, you're a piece of shit. Like, this guy's disgusting. He's a vile piece of shit. It was really funny. He's so gross that J.K. Rowling actually came out today and
Yeah.
said he hasn't even paid enough yet. And I tweeted it. I said the worst person in the world has said something good or something.
Yeah. But
That guy, the
that
worst.
onion, yeah.
Yeah, it's not. I don't know what it is, but yeah, the worst person in the world said something
You
good,
agree with. Like you
and I posted that. I'm like, yeah, she's 100% right.
yeah.
Wow, she's actually like for 1 minute in between her attacking trans people, she said like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't defend the guy who lied about murdered children and continues to lie about it. I hope he loses every penny.
Yeah, me too.
And but we'll see. I don't know. Okay. Well, speaking of terrible,
Yeah, Kanye.
Kanye West. This is the last thing we're going to talk about. Kanye West likes to come out once in a while. He disappears and then comes back like every 6 months, like a hedgehog.
Yeah.
Kind of looks like one. And he or like a beaver. He always makes me think he looks like the Bucky's beaver.
Yeah, he does kind of look like Bucky's.
Yeah. Sorry, Bucky Beaver.
Well, he came out and said he was going to go
full Hotep Black Israelite
yeah.
and went on an anti-Semitic tirade.
Yeah. He it really was like a grotesque caricature of what like that type of thing is,
And he tweeted that he was going to go DEFCON 3 on Jewish people.
Yeah.
Not anti-Semitic because black.
And it was okay because black people were the original Jewish people or something.
Like they showed the Puff Daddy thing, and he was like, "Yeah, I tried talking to him. I said, I would like to actually meet up with you and talk."
Yeah.
He wouldn't even respond. It's like, instead of having this bullshit back and forth, maybe we could actually, we're supposedly friends. Maybe we could actually meet. But Kanye's too in his right wing. He's full on right winger. So the other day, he was like in Paris or something at some fashion show with Candace Owens, and they're wearing like White Lives Matter shirts.
Yeah.
Candace Owens is just a vile shitbag.
It's just real weird. I know, like, yeah, I know we talked about this a little bit beforehand about like, is he mentally ill or not? I don't look. You can be mentally ill and a shitty person. I mean, those things aren't mutually exclusive. I
mentally,
do,
I
I
think
do,
he doesn't pay attention anymore.
yeah. I don't know. I see like, um, I don't know. Whatever. He's just like this is like he's so big and he's so important to a lot of people, and for him to act like
Is
this
he
is
still,
just what?
is he still that important to people?
No, but he was. I mean, he's culturally
Like
iconic. It would
2009,
be
maybe 2010.
he's not like putting out the hits anymore, but it would be like I think a good example would be like Eric Clapton to like middle-aged white dudes. Like, Eric Clapton said a lot of shitty things, and like, no,
Yeah, Eric
Eric,
Clapton lost his mind. I mean, especially during the pandemic.
yeah, but like, is Eric Clapton still big? No, but he's like super culturally relevant to like middle class white dudes. And is Kanye super relevant right now? No, he's kind of like a joke, but like he's still very culturally relevant. He just is. I mean,
Well, I'm just gonna read this to you really quick. I put out like a thread and got like buried in my.
yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
It's like what tweets pick up and what don't. This one didn't. And whatever. I had to just get it out. It said thread in 6 parts. Not too long after Katrina, I knew Kanye was trash. And that sounds like, wait, what? Because he said that about
right.
George Bush?
Yeah.
No, that's not it. He monopolized all our grievances of the Bush administration mishandling the Hurricane Katrina aftermath when he said George W. Bush doesn't care about black people, live on air during a fundraiser for the victims. Said it was refreshing to see someone of Kanye's stature say what needed to be said, especially after what felt like 4 years not being able to publicly criticize Bush. George W. Bush was given a get out of jail card with 9/11. He abused this and put us in a never ending war in Iraq. Kanye saying this live on TV was something a large majority felt like after Katrina, but he did nothing with it. It wasn't about the victims anymore, and it was all about Kanye. He didn't do anything after saying George W. Bush doesn't care about black people. All he did was raise his brand value. That's true. I don't remember him doing like he never said anything again like that. He never really
and he never went to New Orleans and did the work himself, or
yeah,
I mean, like maybe that wasn't his obligation, but
yeah, and that's fine. But and then I said, what did Kanye eventually do? He married a Kardashian and sold $200 blank T-shirts.
Yeah.
And then came out in support immediately of Trump after the 2016 update. Kanye decided to do a media blitz of his support for Trump, the guy who ran the most outright racist campaign in decades. That's just the fact. Now we can talk about Reagan and we can talk about Bush with the Willie Horton. Willie Horton thing was incredibly racist. They're kind of doing that to Fetterman right now. They're doing Willie Horton on him. But Trump ran an outright racist campaign, came out the gate, said that Mexicans were racist, and he had those rallies. This was so in your face. Like the Ronald Reagan one, or what he did or what Bush did with Willie Horton, you could like there's a dog whistle there. There's like it's not there like there's some nuance to it and it's subtle in some ways. What Trump did was so in your face, and the fact that Kanye came out and said that he loved this guy was insane. And then I said he put on a MAGA hat and said that slavery was a choice for black people. He literally said recently he's just come out attacking Jewish people and pushing old-timey anti-Semitic tropes of Jews controlling the world. He did. He dropped his ass 6 years ago, but most didn't, and this is where we're at now. I mean, like he was on Tucker Carlson and he said all kinds of like crazy shit, but then there was leaked footage of what he said. All kinds of anti-Semitic shit. This guy is a billionaire. He was part of the intimidation on the Georgia voter counting. Like, he should be investigated for that. Like that, he shouldn't be left off the hook for that.
No.
He ran a bullshit run for president. That was that went nowhere. And then he has that bullshit school that like isn't even accredited, so he's stealing money from people, desperate people. People love fame, they want to like if they even like they think that like if they know someone or they're near it, and it's like the joke is if you have to pay for it, you ain't getting it.
Right. That's for sure.
You get chosen because you're good at something or you have a connection. But if you have to pay to get in, that's not how it works. So I'm I'm kind of tired of this guy. Is just an outright anti-Semite. He is saying shit. What's scary about him, it's not like this isn't David Duke. This isn't
Right.
like
No, this is a culturally relevant,
this
reasonably
guy
popular
is
figure.
like there's still people who don't pay attention that much to politics, still listen to Kanye, still buy his crap, and not realize what a piece of
Yeah.
shit. And he's saying like outright anti-Semitic shit, stuff that probably people have never heard before. And they're like, "Oh shit, you hear what Kanye's saying?" So he's
Mm.
normalizing an outright anti-Semitic tropes and saying it. I'm sorry, but like, I know there's like the argument of like the art of the past and all that. The best thing is to just say, you know what? That was the past. I'm not going to listen anymore.
Yeah, I think with Kanye's kind of crossed enough lines so that you can take a pass on him because Kanye's no longer like a lot of artists will say stupid shit, but then they focus on their art and they turn out their art. Kanye's not really turning out the art anymore. He's just focusing on the stupid shit.
Yeah,
You know, the
yeah.
hateful shit.
His best work is supposedly behind him.
His best work is his hate right now.
Yeah,
You know, so like
and
I don't know. If
what's disgusting about him too, he goes on Tucker Carlson, who's a literal white supremacist, is this is his classic game. He's laughing. He loves this. What you get a black guy go on TV. You got a guy from who's comes from a historically marginalized group.
yep.
He comes out and talks shit about another group that's historically marginalized, and saying that like, oh, they control the world and pushing like
Yeah, it's
fucking
just
protocols of Zion shit. I mean, like that's fuck him. I'm sorry, like that's so disgusting. It scares me in a lot of ways because it's like again, I guarantee you, there's people who had they don't know about this stuff. It's not in their
yeah.
brain. They don't think of like Jews controlling the world. They don't think of this like these old-timey anti-Semitic bullshit that gets pushed by like a lot of right-wingers and a lot of Nazis in the world. And then you got a guy who is still technically a mainstream
Yeah.
musician artist saying something so fucking ridiculous and disgusting that he should be dropped by everybody. I'm sorry. Like and I know you're okay, we were talking about Morrissey before.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say this about Morrissey, and I think that this is probably one of those things that doesn't cross the pond.
Yeah.
Much. He's awful because he was supporting the fascist movement in England.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like there's like I'm sorry, but like there's like I know you made it like yeah, supposedly like Dave Mustaine said some shit, right? And like you brought
well, like all of these. Look, I saw on Twitter the other day, I forget who it was. Someone saying, "Oh, it was about Kanye," and then someone said like, "Oh, I hate that I can't like Kanye anymore."
Eyes on
And
the
then,
right. He was making a joke about
yeah.
like Megadeth.
Well, I know the Dave. I mean, a lot of those, like the Metallica guys too. The singer
Supposedly is
big
like
Trump fans, and like I remember back when they were still like doing the
metal. The funny thing is Lars is like the progressive supposedly.
yeah.
Attracts a more conservative crowd.
Yeah, I mean, it just does. So, like, I don't know. I mean, like, I've kind of like come to separate art from artist, but like I said, with Kanye, he's not about the art anymore. He's just selling this bullshit.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, like, I mean, like, that's to me, that's a different matter. Maybe that's intellectually inconsistent, but
he's pushing White Lives Matter shirts.
Yeah.
Like
The hell with that.
Owens, who literally is just a cover for racist. Literally, that's her main existence. Oh, and I bet the best was her. She was trying to spin it and said like, "Oh, if you think what Kanye said, like DEFCON 3, like if you think that, then you're an idiot and you're pushing a lie that Kanye is an anti."
Okay.
And she works for Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro had to come out and say something. And let me tell you, Ben Shapiro must be having a great couple of weeks. Two employees of his, Candace Owens, coming out and defending Kanye West.
Yeah.
Who's pushing anti-Semitism and all kinds of horrible tropes. I remember Ben Shapiro not just being Jewish, but also having family that was killed in the Holocaust.
Yeah.
Now Ben Shapiro is also the same guy. You can find that he said that he wouldn't kill baby Hitler. I would imagine because this was too like he was at like one of those like bullshit right to life protests.
Mm-hmm.
They do him every year around the January time in DC, and he was at that. And he said that, and it's so stupid because it's like it's such patronizing. Like, I wouldn't even kill baby Hitler.
Yeah.
That's how pro-life I am. You know what, man? I'm sure there's some relatives of yours that would probably be like,
yeah, they would beg to differ.
Yeah. But then also the thing about Matt Walsh came out too, where he said it was okay for like 16-year-olds to like that they were fine because it's
right. They're fertile.
Yeah. So he's got some good people working for him.
Yeah.
He must be very proud.
I feel a lot better about my week.
It's funny too, because like he's like, I don't know if he's doing some like no beard November bullshit or whatever.
Yeah,
he's shaved, but it just makes him look like shit spinning out of control. And
yeah,
he's like, I'm not time to shave. This is what the fuck's going on here.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Funny.
So yeah, Kanye go fuck himself. Anyone that defends Kanye go fuck themselves. Yeah. Like, I don't want to hear it. I don't like. I still fuck with Kanye shit. I don't want to fucking hear it. I'm sorry. Yeah. Like, listen. Oh, you're just saying that because you're Jewish. Well, yeah, but it should also bother.
It should bother any decent thinking person. Yeah, I mean, come on.
Sorry, but like, there is this thing that I've noticed growing up, and this is just this just sucks. But like, because how Jews are viewed around the world by like conspiracy and stuff. It is the one thing where Black people hate Jewish people, Mexicans hate because it's those same anti-Semitic tropes.
It's a deeply ingrained trope or and prejudice.
So it's like, and then you see the stuff that goes on, like the Israel thing. Always kind of, I hate talking about it because it's like this weird. Like, yes, I don't agree what's going on in Israel, Palestine. I think it's terrible. Yeah, sure. 100% for that. I mean, 100%.
Yeah, no.
For them being there. I can't even, how do I say this right? I don't like
what support Palestine's right to exist.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like that. But I also like would hope that the same people that demand like rights for people would also come out and say, yeah, you know what Kanye said? Pretty fucking gross. And you know what? He should go fuck himself. And anyone that carries him should be blacklisted. Like, sorry, like not black, like boycotted. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Someone made a joke and said that if this Jewish woman made a joke about the Jewish lasers thing, like we're gonna use them on Kanye now.
Nice.
This is like so funny. Like, first of all, like, okay, so if Jews could control the world, why would Kanye exist then?
Yeah, they never really think that far ahead.
It's okay. I mean, no, it's not okay. It's actually awful. I was like blown away by that. I mean, I knew he was awful, but I didn't think that he like that came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I was, wow, holy shit! What the fuck? I read that tweet and it got pulled down. Supposedly Elon Musk like let him back on or something.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, all right, we'll wrap this up. This was we had a lot of stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
I'm going I'll talk about this afterward. Might not be an episode next week. We'll see.
Okay.
We'll have to record a different day.
All right. Yeah. We'll see what goes on.
Okay. So on that note, I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
And you still going on about
that.
Thank you for listening to You Still Going On About That. Please like, comment, share, and if you haven't done already, please follow us on Instagram, YSGOAT, Facebook, YSGOAT, and Twitter, YSGOAT. Thank you.